Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the ReelTok Podcast. We are your hosts, George, Seth, Cam, and myself, Tyler. If you haven't already, make sure you're rating us on Spotify and Apple. We're trying to get into those charts, and I feel like we're just on the cusp of finally breaking into like the top 200 movie podcasts. So do us a solid, help us out. And on YouTube, hit us with the subscribe. We're filming this on a Saturday, so we upload this on Monday. I'm just going to assume we're passing 2,000 subscribers before we upload on Monday. But if we don't, help us out. And if we do, let's start pushing for 3,000 now. And I feel like the first 10 episodes, we've been kind of everyone's favorite movie and film podcast, but it's kind of been like our little secret. We want to start expanding our reach. So share it with a friend. If you have a friend who likes movies or just likes, some funny, good looking dudes, share the podcast. Let's try to get the word out. Keep us growing. Thank you all very much for all you've already done. We love all the support on Instagram stories and TikTok. Like, we try to reply to as many people as we can. But with that being said, how's everyone doing today? And of course, I have to start with Cam. I was gonna lead into oh, Cam, this happened. Just give us how are you doing, Cam?
I am horrible. I am as hungover as it gets. I truly don't. I don't know if I'll make it through this podcast.
What did you do last night? Did you just hang out at home and just
we had Friendsgiving? We had some Friendsgiving, and I wasn't even drunk when my friends were here. But after they left, I finished another bottle of wine. And I am utterly ashamed of myself. I'm going to go throw up here.
For everyone listening, yesterday Cam sends us a mirror selfie. And in that mirror selfie, he is holding this massive glass half full of wine. Just a pool of white wine.
Oh, fellas, this is bad.
Well,
let's move on to the next person.
We'll carry on the show if you can't carry it on. But yeah, Cam
drank
a good amount last night. He was on TikTok Live. He got banned from TikTok Live for I think 24 hours.
You got banned from TikTok Live
again.
Yeah. Well, because the issue is the last time he got banned was for hate speech or whatever, because he said Purdue sucks in his title. And on TikTok Live, how whatever you set the subject to, once you go on that video again. Oh, guys, he's getting a trash can by him. This is utterly concerning. But so yeah, he basically just still had Purdue sucks as his TikTok Live title, because it doesn't change when you just go live again unless you manually change it. So I think again they were just oh, that's hate speech. But it was good. We were talking about chicken tenders. We were talking about fast food. It was a wild live. So anyone who's in that last
Cam's
night,
Cam's lives are always just funny, man.
They're never about. They are never about movies.
No, never.
Never. We got people commenting, asking what his thoughts on Helen Keller are.
But yeah, that's what I love. And Cam, he posted a story time about his tattoo yesterday, which is hilarious. So go check that out if you haven't.
Funny.
And he uses those voice effects that are starting to trend on TikTok to SpongeBob.
They're so annoying.
But I'm so jealous of them because they are doing so well with views. But I feel like it wouldn't work for any of us except Cam. If any of us did that, it would feel so weird. But Cam, it's that's totally Cam. I think it's just a TikTok filter effect.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, so this is going to be mostly there's going to be a 3.5 person show today. So we'll just move over to George. I had so many other questions to ask Cam about his week in Texas for work. He had so many other things. But George, you're possibly visiting Seth next month. What else is going on in your life?
Yes, me and Victoria finally officially booked our trip to London from December 4th to 10th. So yeah, Seth and I, we're gonna link. I don't know, dinner, maybe workout, something. I don't know. Whatever, literally whatever. I'm not seeing Seth. I also even texted Josiah. I know he's in London, so
he's in London, is it? That'd be cool.
So I texted Josiah. I was like, "Yo, we're gonna." I don't know how old he is, so I didn't want to say let's grab a drink or something.
No, he's
it's 18 in the UK, right?
Yeah, he's 18. So
okay, so yeah, maybe we'll all just grab a drink one night or something. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Other than that, good week. Feel like it was one of those weeks where I just left work and I was like, damn, I was mad productive this week. But being productive at work means my movie watch list is taking a hit. November 19, and we're at I think 11 movies watched, which is
poor, my friend.
It's a bad pace compared to where I was in October when I was going through my horror watch list. So
yeah,
next week we got a lot going on with movies, so I'm gonna catch that up.
Awesome. Yeah, nothing wrong with being productive though. I was the same this week. I had some pretty productive days. There's nothing better than there's so many nights this week, at least 3, where I was just like, I just want to do nothing. I'm just gonna just sit on my ass, so tired, so lazy. But then I just got to work, and then all of a sudden you just grind for 3 hours, and you feel so much better about yourself. Seth, how about you, man? What's going on over there, over on that side of the pond?
Pretty standard again, to be fair. Pretty busy week, all things considered. Nothing really like is happening at the moment. Just standard work, standard training, whatever. I've been getting some good watches in recently, which is nice. This has got to be like one of my most watched months so far. I've watched a ridiculous amount of films. But now pretty standard, pretty good week, all things considered. Pretty productive as well, same as you. Like I felt the weather's like kind of gone down here. It's gone like pretty horrendous all the time. But in some ways, that's kind of a good thing because I just stay in more, so I just often get more done, which is quite nice. But yeah, all things considered, pretty productive, pretty standard. Nothing really to mention at all from there.
Nice. George, have you been getting snow in NYC? I know upstate New York, like in Buffalo, is getting like record snow, like 6 feet of snow.
I saw that video of the stadium the Buffalo Bills play at. No, we haven't gotten anything here yet, which is absolutely cracked. But yeah, they're getting hit upstate. But here,
those videos are insane. Like I see so many TikToks where it's like, we're supposed to get 6 feet of snow. Here's what it looks like when the snow first started, and that's like 4 hours later. It's like 12 hours later. I'm like, Jesus, like it's literally like a George height of snow just in your yard.
Who are the Buffalo Bills? That's a funny name. That's very funny.
Football team, American, real
egg
football.
Ball. Yes. Real, you don't kick it.
Real.
You barely even kick it. It's not real football. You don't even kick it. It doesn't count. It's egg ball.
There's probably like half a dozen kicks a game. But yeah, they're a football team. But yeah, it's funny because like they have nothing to do with the Silence of the Lambs character. But Buffalo Bill, it's kind of funny that name works there.
That's what that's what kids I'm on.
I will say though, just one note back to my small watch list of November. My lowest rated film is See How They Run, and that's a 4 out of 5 stars.
Bro,
so I've been watching some good films
I said
this month.
Anna. Last month, I was like, I watched so many releases last month, and they were so bad or average.
Yeah.
And I was like, when am I going to watch some good films? I looked down my diary this morning when I was filling in the sheet. I've watched so many good films this month.
I mean, look my last couple of watches. City of God, 5 stars. Marriage Story, 5 stars.
Did you rewatch City of God? Nice.
I did. Yeah, I did rewatch. I wanted to rewatch a couple of films before I put out my greatest of all time rank. Yeah. And City of God, Marriage Story, Joker, Manchester by the Sea, all a couple of those films that I wanted to rewatch.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, glad to hear everyone minus Cam's doing good. At least he has a pretty background, so people watching on YouTube, you're gonna be probably looking at that a lot of this episode. But man, he went on a work trip back to where I used to live, so I wanted to see what it was like. He was there for a week, but I guess so. We're just gonna have to move on because today we have a packed show. We're gonna do a ton of movie reviews. Some of them are gonna be pretty quick, but we're gonna be reviewing The Menu, The Wonder, My Policeman. And then some Christmas movies came out because it is starting to get into that season. Falling for Christmas, A Christmas Story Christmas, and Spirited. And then lastly, this one's been out for a few weeks now, After Sun, but we've all finally been able to see it. So we're going to give our thoughts on that as well because...
Has that been out for a few weeks? I didn't even know it was... Well,
yeah, but it's been out for probably a month now, but it's just been such limited.
Such a limited release, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at one theater within like a 20-mile radius of me, and that theater seats like 25 people.
Bro, here... It's at one cinema, and they're like a really local independent place that have like really small screens, whatever.
So, yeah, same.
None of the big chains, nothing. Just the one.
It's frustrating how limited it is. And George, I'm sure you won't relate to this because you live near NYC, but it's so annoying lately how so many movies, like right now, Bones and All and The Fablemans, if you're in LA and NYC, you can see them. But everywhere else in America, or probably a wider release as well, isn't until like next Wednesday. So it's like, why is NYC and LA getting priority? Like it's just like. This is kind of lame.
Same with Del Toro's Pinocchio. It's out in like very limited theaters across the country.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that, man. I'm jealous that people.
I'm very excited. Excited.
Like I get when movies get limited releases at first, then get expanded, but I feel like it's like every state, main city gets like their art house theater gets a release, but it's like just NYC and LA is just so kind of like annoying and pretentious.
My thing with After Sun is like it makes sense that it gets like this like very limited like artisan release because it is a very low budget A24 film. It's not on everyone's radar.
Do we know the budget for it?
I don't know. But anyways, now we're like a month after its release, and a good chunk of people are calling this the best movie of the year, and there is so much demand for this movie. You'd think they would toss it in like a couple of AMCs or Regals around the country.
I mean, when you think about it, though, Everything Everywhere All at Once was generating this type of buzz, but probably even more widespread because it was so highly rated, but also you know more appetizing for the movie theater going experience than After Sun. It's more of a spectacle, but still, that one I feel like the hype came, and then it was still months later before like major theaters were having it. So it's kind of crazy how slow they move, which for an industry that's trying to stay alive as hard as they can and scrape as much money as possible, you'd think the second they hear the buzz. But I don't know. We've seen them be wrong before. Like Morbius for re-releasing that was like the dumbest thing ever. So maybe they just don't know what's going on.
That was they were actually just like testing. They wanted to see if all the Twitter buzz about Morbius was real.
That was totally like a 65-year-old executive that doesn't understand memes and humor, and he's like, "Let's just see something. Let's try this out."
People are talking about my movie.
But yeah, we got all those movie reviews coming.
You know, it's quite sad when you think about it, man. I kind of feel bad at the same time.
I'm sure it still made a couple $1,000 more, but yeah, it's just, just
it would have made some more money anyway.
But yeah, we got all those movie reviews. We'll talk latest trailers, some castings. As Cam calls it, nerd news. I have to say how Cam calls it because I feel like it's a little derogatory. I'm not going to just call people nerds.
I kind of like nerd news.
It's all
I like.
Yeah, we're all nerds here anyways. So
we're all nerds.
Yeah. And then we'll talk some movie and TV news, and then we will end off with the draft of the saddest movies of all time. But you also want to stay to the end because I'll preview what we're going to be doing next week, which includes what we'll be doing on next podcast, as well as just so much content going to be filmed and coming. So keep that on your radar. But first, before we get into our first movie review, which will be the menu, we'll go on what happened on this day in movie history. So I just got a couple things. The horror film Frankenstein was released in 1931, one of the staples and leading path pavers of the horror genre. Demi Moore and Bruce Willis were married today in 1987. They divorced in 2000, though. RIP. And then Twilight was released in 2008, and Silver Linings Playbook released in 2012. So some pretty cult classic movies have been released on this day. Creed 2 is also released on this day.
Have you guys seen Twilight all the way through?
Bro, of course I have.
Yeah, I've only seen the first two.
They're so bad.
I think I'm with you, George. I think I've only seen the first two, but I didn't actually hate them. I mean, I didn't love them, but
there's five.
How many is there?
It's five or four.
Oh no, I thought there was three. I've seen the first three.
How did you hate them? They came out when I was in like 5th grade, the original Twilight. So it's like I was way too like at that age. It's like werewolves, vampires. That's awesome. Like I was too young to actually critique movies.
I watched it like a few years later. I want to say when I was like 14, 15 kind of age.
Okay.
So like. I knew they were bad then.
I
haven't seen Silver Linings Playbook though. I know you mentioned that.
So good, but I made Victoria watch all 8 Harry Potter movies in like the span of 2 weeks, and I told her if she did that, I'll watch every single Twilight movie. I stopped after the second one. I couldn't get past 2.
They are like,
this is not happening.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I'm in the same boat right now. I'm going through all the Harry Potters for the first time with my girlfriend. Where we just finished Goblet of Fire, and now we got
great film.
Halfway done.
Bro,
exceptionally good film.
That was such an opinion that I haven't heard before. What was it? That Chamber of Secrets is the best so far, and Prison of Azkaban was the worst. I think on her ratings.
Oh no, Goblet of Fire is now number 1, but it was
Oh, it's to watch Goblet of Fire now, right?
Yeah, but Prisoner of Azkaban is generally regarded as one of the highest rated.
Yeah,
Goblet of Fire is one of the lower rated normally, just because it's like the least like the book. So anyone who watches the book or reads the book usually hates Goblet of Fire. But for someone like me who I read the books, but I'm not like a diehard book
I haven't
stan. I really like the Goblet of Fire movie. I think the ending is just so peak.
So good.
I think that's my most watched Harry Potter. I think that's the one which I can just turn on all the time. Like Goblet of Fire is so entertaining. Yeah. I think I have it third. I definitely like it a lot more than most people though, because a lot of people who've read the books, Half-Blood Prince, Goblet of Fire, they seem to be like the worst adaptations apparently. It's all according to the book. So I don't know. I like Goblet of Fire. I think it's really good. I think it's really fun.
Maybe we do a real quick one day going through our Harry Potter rankings.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Good. People would like that. People would definitely like that. Yeah.
I'm sure we will one day. I'm sure there's probably a Fantastic Beast in the pipeline that's coming out in 2023, I'd imagine. So we'll be able to.
Does that mean I have to watch the Fantastic Beasts film?
No, we can just mention them. I don't think they're horrible movies. They're not great. They're below average, but like when I watch them, I'm not like I'm actively wasting my time. So, but that's a very low mark for any movie, I guess. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like it's a good thing. I was gonna
say that's not a good thing
because they're quite long as well, aren't they? So like.
I think they're right in line with the Harry Potter movies, which is 2 to 2.5 hours.
Stink.
Do you know what? The Harry Potters, I was looking at this the other day, they are surprisingly longer than you think. So the Chamber of Secrets is like 2 hours 45 or something.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize that when you watch the film, though, do you?
Yeah.
'Cause it doesn't feel that long at
No,
all.
yeah, and we were watching The Goblet of Fire before my girlfriend had to go to work, and spoilers for a movie that came out 12 years ago, or even longer than that. But
Longer.
the end of Goblet of Fire, when Cedric Diggory dies and he's like, Voldemort has returned, like in my memory, like I was just like, oh, it ends there. But there's like 20 minutes after that of them just kind of wrapping up the movie. I was like, shit, like I'm sorry, I guess you have to go to work. But I totally thought it was just like ended with them being like, Voldemort's returned, and then it was just done. But there's still like 20 more minutes. I'm like, damn, these movies.
Yeah,
are long
there's
as
a
hell.
good chunk of it, to be fair.
All right. Well, Cam was back with us for a second, but we'll jump into our first movie review, the one we'll probably go into the most. And this is the one that Cam didn't even want to be a part of because he's the only one who was unable to go see this movie. So, Cam, if you're listening to this, we're going to start talking about a movie that's going to be spoiled for you. But we'll start with the spoiler-free section, and we're talking about The Menu here. And a brief synopsis. The Menu is a new horror thriller comedy that's about a couple that travels to a coastal island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. This stars Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy. I feel like this is a movie that had hype coming into it because there was a lot of trailers before big movies of this movie that really grabbed my attention, but I don't see that many people in the mainstream talking about it outside of movie talk, like going to see this movie. But I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I'll kick it off over to Seth first. What are your thoughts on The Menu? We'll start with spoiler free, just kind of talking about the movie as a whole, and then we'll jump into spoilers a bit later.
So I really liked it. I don't think I was quite as high on it as you two, but I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was very original. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes were definitely the standout. I really liked Nicholas Holt's character as well. I think some of the dialogue was like laugh out loud funny, which surprised me. And I think a lot of the character work they did, every character had their own sort of comedic value to add, which made me enjoy it a lot more. I did really enjoy the first act, also the second act. It did kind of fall off for me a little bit when it, in my opinion, I think this is just a preference thing. In the third act, it kind of strayed a little bit away from the horror comedy and went more into like a social commentary, which is fine, which I think they did well. But I didn't enjoy it as much. I wish they'd gone, continued down that stupidly goofy, ridiculous route without the social commentary there. But I think the most important thing about this film is that it has style and substance. There is a lot you can take away from it. Tyler, you mentioned it's quite comparable to Triangle of Sadness. George, you haven't seen that, have you? Yeah, I
haven't seen it now.
Yeah, so it's quite comparable to that in terms of like sort of the commentary on social classes, on the rich, on power, that sort of thing. But I really enjoyed it. I think the characters were really good. I think the dialogue was funny. I think it was original, and I think it's one that I will definitely go to rewatch as well. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. My friend Anna gave it the same. We both enjoyed it, but I think it's one that could actually go up on rewatch because there's a few bits here and there that I might have missed. But overall, 3.5 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. I did say though when I left the cinema, this is a film for me that's too good for a 3.5 and not good enough for a 4 for me.
I was gonna say your review, like your words of your review that you just gave it the past 2 minutes, didn't sound like a 3.5 normally from Seth. That sounded more on the 4 range.
I was saying, but I'd rather go the low. If there was an option, I'd give it 3.75. The final act just let it down for me personally in terms of the way they went. But I think that's just a preference thing. I don't think it's technically bad filmmaking. I think it's really good. Just in terms of kind of the way they went, it kind of lost its footing a little bit for me in the third. But I think a lot of people will really enjoy this a lot more than I did, and I think it's one to watch definitely. Yeah.
Awesome, glowing reviews from Seth's Film Reviews. George, how about you? You saw this just probably about 10 hours ago at this point.
Yeah, I saw this last night. We'll get into a little bit more spoilers, but I think I'm on like the other side of this train that Seth is on with the ending. I kind of enjoyed that ending when I think
most people are, to be fair.
It was one of those things where it was like the whole movie was just hinting at this massive social commentary, and I would have been a little upset if they didn't like just address it in the most blatantly obvious way. And I think that third act absolutely did that. And I thought that just kind of stuck to the absurdity of this entire script. But echoing everything Seth said, I think this was incredibly refreshing. I think this was a nice little, tight, cute little horror comedy on this year. It's one of those movies, and I don't know if you guys noticed this. Typically, trailers before movies are, geared. So if you're going to see like Strange World next week, I assume all the trailers beforehand are going to be geared towards like children's movies or animated movies or something like that. I saw The Menu trailers before every single movie I've seen over the last 2 months, they were advertising the shit out of this movie. And I don't know if you guys pay attention to that. But yeah, overall, I had a really good time with this movie. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. Ralph Fiennes, he was so unintentionally hysterical because I feel like his character was just supposed to be this arrogant, high and mighty chef douchebag. But like every time he clapped, I laughed my ass off. Every time he was telling the story about his father and his mother, I was absolutely hysterically laughing. I thought it was incredible. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I don't think she was revolutionary in this movie. I think she did a great job for what she had to do. That being said, she is my queen. I absolutely love her. But yeah, overall, I had a really good time with this movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's sitting just inside my top 20 of the year.
Nice. Yeah, I'm even higher. I have it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's right on the border, so right between a 4 and a 4.5. And I echo everything you said. George, the word you said that specifically stood out to me was tight. This movie was just at an hour 40. It wasn't overly long. I thought the pacing was great. They got everything they needed to and didn't have any extra fluff to make you sit through. Yep. So I definitely appreciated that. Ralph Fiennes absolutely dominated his performance. Like you said, Anya Taylor-Joy was very good, but she didn't really have to be amazing for this character. It was definitely Ralph Fiennes who was holding the attention of people. But Hung Cho, the Ralph Fiennes' assistant, I thought she was very good as well. She was funny, but so deadpanned when she was talking to all the guests, being like, "You can't take pictures," and then when he's like, "Can you just get us some bread?" No.
No.
That conversation was so funny.
So I liked what's his name? John Sid the Sloth. What's his name? John the movie star. What's John Liu?
He's from Chef. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, the guy in Chef. I thought he was funny, man. I really liked him.
Yeah,
I think every character just had their own kind of thing to add into the story that made me laugh quite a lot. I liked the duo. That's the one. Yeah. Thanks, Cam. Who's not Cam the ghost? The food critic duo as well.
They were great. I love them.
Yeah, they were really funny.
You know what? Okay, so I give it a 4.5 out of 5, and we're going to end the non-spoiler talk here because I want to get into spoilers because I want to start talking about this stuff. But basically, if you couldn't get the theme from what we just talked about, it's a very good movie. We all very much enjoyed it. It is genuinely funny, and I'm very harsh on comedy usually, and there's genuinely good jokes in here that don't feel forced, mainly because the acting is just so impeccable in this movie. It's not overly long. It's a nice, just quick 100-minute theater visit, and you'll definitely enjoy yourself and find something out of this. But we're going to get into spoilers now. The Ghost of Christmas Cam, stop listening. But yeah, I want to get into this, and this, I don't know if this is technically a spoiler, but a lot of people message me when I put my review, and they're like, is this too gory? I don't know. I don't do good with gore. But I want to get into, this movie from the trailers, I totally assumed was going to go towards, a cannibal route. Because, they would show, the bone marrow was, one of the dishes. So I totally was oh, this is going a cannibal route. And I think a lot of people think that. So oh, I want this to be fresh or bones and all. Is this another cannibal movie? So literally nothing about that. All the food they eat, genuinely delicious actual food that by the end of it, you'll be so hungry.
Thing with no bread.
I mean, I'd still probably eat that. But literally I'd eat it. I went to get a cheeseburger with my girlfriend after this movie. I was this looks so, that cheeseburger he made was so good.
I got a burger after. I literally got a burger after.
That was one of the most attractive scenes in movies this whole year. Was him making that burger for 3 minutes.
It was amazing.
I texted you, and I'm kind of on the same. I didn't think it was going to go the cannibal direction, but I had texted that it was an interesting movie. The trailers didn't, and maybe I'm just an idiot, but the trailers didn't make this out to be a Triangle of Sadness type film where it's going to have a lot of social commentary. I really thought they were going to go. I was expecting, and we're talking spoilers, I was expecting every single character to get absolutely slaughtered. Obviously, they all end up perishing, but I was expecting them to get I thought this was going to be one of the goriest films of the year, the way that trailer made it out to be. And when I said that this movie was interesting, I think I more meant it on it was a lot tamer than I expected it to be.
I agree. I expected worse.
Yeah, even Victoria walked out and she was that was a bit unsettling, but I think I expected it to be I was expecting decapitations or something. I don't know.
I'm kind of with you. I thought it would be a lot. I thought it'd be a lot more balls to the wall and just pushing the kind of not shock value, not a Terrifier, but a lot of weird deaths and stuff like that, which there were, but a lot more in detail. And it did surprise me that it was more like a triangle of sadness, where they were kind of pushing this social commentary, which I think a lot of people will be a lot more positive about, because it's really not like a gory film. There is some unsettling deaths, I guess, but it's not something that pushes balls to the wall in terms of gore and shock value. It's not that at all. I did kind of think of that, when it was a 15 as well. I thought, okay, it's not going to be that bad, because there is a certain length of violence where they have to put it to what's a R-rated?
R or PG-13. Yeah.
Okay, so is an R the top one?
R is the top, or like NC-17.
Is it rated R, George?
What was that for you then?
I think it's R.
Let's see. I'll double check while you guys keep talking.
Because I think that would be an R. Because we have 12, 15, and 18. And 18 is like that barrel. 18 is like a Terrify usually, something that has like a really visual depiction of horror or something bad, and gore and stuff. And then 15 is like the menu and stuff. I think that'd be R-rated for you. I'm pretty sure.
We're still waiting on fact checker George, but
bro, where do I even find this?
Bro, I don't even know you look. Usually, if you search,
what do I? Yeah, I searched the menu
rating.
That's what I searched.
I guess
rated R. It's rated R. Rated R.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are you seeing that? Am I being stupid? Oh, rated R. There it is. Okay, that's my.
Isn't
fault.
that like 15 and
17 and above? But
is that 17?
But if you're with an adult, you can go. I don't know. Is that the same for 18 and 15? Like if you're with someone older, can you go to those, or do you everyone have to be that age?
We only have that for 12. So there's something called 12A, which is like where someone under 12 can go if they're with like a parental guardian. If it's a 15 or 18, they're not going to check most of the time, but you do technically have to be 15 or 18 to go. It's weird, man. Like, some of the age restrictions for me don't make sense. Like a lot of films are 18, I don't get. A lot of films are 15, I don't get. It's
that
one
makes
of them.
sense. The general vibe I'm getting is that the UK is more lenient with movie ratings. Like stuff that's R here might be a 15 there, but it sounds like everyone has to be 15 plus in that theater. Whereas here, you can bring a 10-year-old to an R-rated movie if you're 20.
Yeah, but no one checks, do they? That's the thing. No one's gonna. If you get asked for your ID, that's pretty embarrassing. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen.
Right.
But I guess so. Like if if we see a film's 18, we're like, okay, this has got something in it that's going to show a lot. But if it's 15, it's like, nah.
Yeah,
you don't really expect it from it. That makes sense.
But no, I thought this movie was genuinely hilarious. Like my theater, it was one of the funnest theater experiences I've had this year because I was in a packed theater for it, and because I went to an early showing, so it was like packed and it was fun. Like everyone was laughing. The funniest joke for me, which was the one that people laughed at the least, was probably just because like I have student loans. Is when that one girl's like, "Why am I here? I don't want to die," and he's like, "Where'd you go to college?" And she lists like some very prestigious Ivy League school.
Brown.
And then he's like,
Brown.
Yeah. I didn't know if people in the UK would know like how prestigious like Brown is, but then she was like, then he's like, "Well, do you have any student loans for that degree?" No. And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna die tonight." And I was like, "That's fucking hilarious." And
I really liked that. That just goes through the social commentary.
I know.
And
just Ray Fiennes' deadpan delivery of it was just so brilliant. And
who was your guys' like favorite character? You had to say.
Nicholas Hoult. I was crying when
he was so funny
when the old guy got his finger cut off and everyone's freaking out and Nicholas Hoult is just going in on the food like this is delicious. I was freaking out. That was so fun.
I loved how they handled his character because when the movie starts, you see his chemistry with Anya Taylor-Joy for the first act. You're like, this is like, I get it. They're making a satire commentary here, but this is just an unbelievable romance. Like these people have no chemistry. Why would they be together? And then later when everyone's dying and he's still eating, you're like, it is so dumb and unbelievable. He'd be freaked out. But then you find out later he hired Anya Taylor-Joy to go with them. So of course he doesn't have any chemistry. And he knew the whole time they're all going to die. So of course when people start dying, he doesn't give a fuck. And I was like, the way they explained that, I was like, damn, I'm glad because I thought it was just going to be one of those like, oh, just it's funny, just have fun with it, but like it all actually makes sense based on his character.
It's definitely well written, like it's clever. It's just a tight script that works really well, and I think every character was like accounted for. You watch those films a lot where it's these sort of moments where each character you kind of just don't care about some of the characters. I think every character was accounted for. I wasn't that big of a fan of the three guys a lot of the time. The tax guys. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. The tax one.
The bread was hilarious.
Yeah, the tax guys. I think everyone was there for like the old the film critic and her husband. They're trying to like say these big words to make.
They're there for a reason. Yeah. They're there for a reason.
I think the three guys were there to corporate greed and capitalism and finance.
They all kind of signify something.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, like the more I'm thinking about it, the more it's just like growing and fondness in my mind because the jokes are just so good. Like that critic and her husband just bouncing off those super long words to each other, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's bodaciously extravagant." And it's just hilarious.
I think every, like George said, every character kind of had a point in which you can look at through this social commentary. I think that's just it's clever, man. It's clever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the see how they run for horror this year, where it's like it's very well written, but there's nothing like flashy to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love when they let everyone free to run, and he's like, you get a 45-second head start, and then that one guy just hiding in the shed, and then they just open the window like, here's the couple, congratulations, you're the last one to get caught.
That was so funny.
I actually found it, you know, when the guy runs like just before he finishes his sentence, he just chases off. Yeah. I found that so funny. I think that was hilarious. So like, my question to you guys is like, so when I did my Letterboxd review, I had a comment about this. So I said that the good thing about this film is that it elevates enjoyability because it doesn't take itself too seriously. But I've seen a lot of people actually say that it does take itself too seriously to the point of it becomes a satire without, not deliberately, if not accidentally. For the ending, so were you guys kind of higher on the ending in terms of like, did you enjoy the ending more than the first acts? Like, how high were you on the ending? Because that was the point where it let it down for me personally.
I enjoyed where Anya Taylor-Joy character ends up. I fully expected her as she was like walking out after her cheeseburger. I thought she was gonna make like the classic dumb horror movie decision where she turns around and she's like, "No, save them." Yeah. I absolutely love that she didn't. She was not meant to be there, and the movie makes that apparent as it kind of glides its way through. She was hired by Nicholas Holtz's character. She's a sex worker. She's not rich by any means. I enjoyed the social commentary aspect because, like I said, I feel like this movie kept just building up to it. Like, it was so apparently obvious that Ray Fiennes' character was just there to fuck up these pretentious rich people's day. Yeah. So if it didn't end in the most absurd way possible, I kind of would have been a little let down. Yeah. You used the word satire. I don't think a movie that uses that word can necessarily be taken seriously because I don't think this movie takes itself seriously. I think it's an incredibly self-aware film when it comes to it's a bunch of rich people in a restaurant and it's a chef slaughtering them. Like that's not a serious film.
I guess so. Well, this isn't my opinion. I'm just reading stuff from that's just a comment I got, but I'm kind of on your way. I think it is. I don't know how it can take itself too seriously. I think a lot of people will say that the film takes itself too seriously if it has social commentary. When I disagree, I think a film can still be a satire of a certain, like Triangle of Sadness. That has so many layers of social commentary, but I wouldn't say it takes itself too seriously to the point where it damages viewability. Tyler, you probably agree with that. I think a lot of people will just hear that and then just run with it, if that makes sense. But I
would say the Triangle of Sadness to me, and barely, because I feel like I agree with what you said. The social commentary in both doesn't detract from the movie. Like, it's not hitting you over the head so hard that you can't enjoy the movie. I would say Triangle of Sadness was more, for me, towards the spectrum of satire than The Menu, just because some scenes in the Triangle of Sadness just go so over the top and ridiculous that you're like, okay, this is like clearly, but we don't have to. Yeah,
you say that, but at the end of The Menu, they were literally human s'mores. Like, that is like crazy over the top.
But what I enjoyed about this movie the most is that the script was witty, but I just loved the character decisions because Ray Fiennes, the whole movie was deadpanned on destroying these corporate elite, greedy people that just don't know what value is worth in this world. And he saw that Anya Taylor-Joy's character was not that. She proved that to him with the burger conversation. And that whole scene was all about him being like, this girl is not one of them. So he let her go, and it wasn't some cheesy, like, let her go, and then, oh, no, you're actually dead. Like, he actually let her go. That lives up to what his character would be about. Same thing with her character. She was hired to be there. She hated, like, the guy she was with was a terrible person. Someone else who was there previously had hired her, who was also a terrible person. So her coming back and saving them would have gone against who she was because she's a blue collar, fuck these people. So her not coming back, I enjoyed that aspect. But I would say I can agree with you, Seth, to where when the movie ended, I didn't dislike the ending. But what I said to my girlfriend right after the end, I was like, I like this ending, but I feel like I can see people not liking it. And then she was kind of surprised. She's like, no, I really liked it. I don't see anyone would like it. But something about it, which I'm glad you brought it up, that like, do people not like this ending? Because I can see people not enjoying it, whether they wanted some resolution with the rich people not burning alive, or somehow save the day, or some other twist at the end for one final punch. But I feel like that would have gone against everything this movie was setting up, so I'm happy it ended the way it did.
Can I just say, I think one of my favorite parts of the film was why the movie star was there, because it was like Ray Fiennes, like first day off in like 4 months, and he just acted, and he's like, I didn't direct it, accident. He's literally put there because the guy wasted time watching a bad film. I found that
so
hilarious.
fucking funny.
That was really good. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was great. But all in all, and yeah, so I said this on my Instagram story. I was like, this movie's Ratatouille plus Midsommar plus Triangle of Sadness. Triangle of Sadness is social commentary, Ratatouille because it's about fine dining and tackling that, but totally Midsommar vibes by the end, where like the wife of the person who initially hired Anya Taylor-Joy, she was like, thank you, and he was burning them alive. Like, he definitely like messed them up mentally, to where some of the actors or characters were literally like thanking him for ending their life and suffering by like killing them in that pier of a s'more. So definitely some kind of indoctrination vibes in this movie with Ray Fiennes taking over these people's mentality. Anything else we want to say on the menu? Overall, glowing reviews from us. Like, genuinely, like, I had a blast with it in terms of the humor. I'll definitely be rewatching it when it comes out on HBO Max or something in 3 months. I feel like that's just inevitably where I could see a movie like this ending up. Any other closing thoughts?
Could you see Ray Fiennes getting a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical?
Maybe. It's a hard one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if he were to get a nomination, if it would be comedy or drama, but I could see him like because they once nominated Matt Damon for comedy or musical for The Martian.
Yeah,
I
that's
weird.
weird.
Wait, for comedy or musical?
Yeah, for The Martian. Yeah. So like I could see him like if the list of like possible nominees is light, I could see him sneaking his way in there.
If the nominees are light, I can see it happening. Definitely. But then these award shows are just weird, man. We don't know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like
we've been known that.
Yeah. Speaking of Ray Fiennes, though, I tweeted this, and some people thought it was kind of like a bold take, but I don't think so. I think Ray Fiennes is one of the best villainous actors of all time.
He's so good.
Schindler's List,
if you look at
In
his,
Bruges,
look at his filmography.
Voldemort,
I don't think that's I think that's like, you just look at his filmography and the antagonist he's portrayed. He is fantastic at being this kind of evil entity.
Yeah.
I agree. I think
hated him so much in Schindler's List. In Bruges, he wasn't even in it till the final like 30 minutes, but once he came into the movie, he was so captivating.
And
so good.
Voldemort, even though he did get beat by a child, he was Voldemort.
Young adult.
Bro, I said this in my video the other day, right? And the amount of Harry Potter fans are like, bro, he was actually 16, and it's like, I wasn't being serious. But I think Voldemort, like, you know, when you see these like top villain lists or whatever, he's rarely in the mention in this kind of like top 10. I would definitely put him up there or near there. I think he's fantastic.
He's in my top 10.
I would say, he's an underrated villain, which is wild to say for a Harry Potter because
like Harry Potter is like one of the most rated franchises ever. Yet the villain doesn't kind of get the respect that he deserves, I would say, which is really weird because I think he's incredible. I think he's great.
A lot of people don't. I guess a lot of people hold him back because Ray Fiennes Voldemort doesn't come in until the last act of Goblet of Fire. He's barely in Order of the Phoenix.
Well, technically he's in the first one as well.
I mean, Ray Fiennes is Voldemort. Yeah, that's not Ray Fiennes. Yeah.
Bro, do you know what? That was a scary scene. You know, he chokes him.
Yeah, it kind of messed me up as a kid, and then he like burns his face.
Yeah,
it's bad, honestly. There was also sorry, just to put this in there. Do you remember the Return of the King, the first scene where Smeagol strangles his that was like very like brutal for me watching that as a kid. These scenes, man, honestly, like
Lord of the Rings aren't children's movies,
right?
The way, like Harry Potter.
No, but it's still like I don't know what it's called for you. It's still like a PG, like parental guidance film.
Yeah.
It's still like very low in the scale for what it's portraying, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Voldemort, I know what you mean. He didn't come into like Goblet of Fire, but the entrance he had in Goblet of Fire, mate, that sequence was incredible.
So good.
And you know when he's birthed as well by Peter, that's disgusting.
Yeah. They throw his like decrepit baby body into that pot.
It's so horrible. I might watch that, man. I love that film.
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean, I just watched it literally like 2 nights ago, and it still lives up. Like, and even everything leading up to that, the Triwizard Tournament is just such fun scenes. Like, that's just a fun Harry Potter movie.
Oh, that film is scarier than a lot of horror movies. I'll say it. I don't even care. Like that film is actually like suspenseful at times, especially the maze sequence.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's spooky.
Definitely. All right, we'll carry on. Anyway.
So we'll finish off the menu there. We'll get into some trailers. So I don't know how many of you guys caught all of these. So second trailer for George's most upcoming excited film of the year, Emancipation, starring Will Smith.
Get out of here.
This movie is gonna be just like screamingly barely above average is what I'm expecting to be, like a 6 out of 10 movie.
I'm expecting this to get like a 2.9 / a 3.1 on Letterboxd. Like that's 6 out of 10 kind of range. I think that's like I don't know. I'll watch it, but I can't imagine anything great. It looks interesting though. I
feel like this is the most attempt at just picking up another Oscar for Will Smith.
Yeah, which is what I think he's just doing at this point in his life, which, since we don't want to talk about Emancipation too much because whatever, it's a bland movie, I do want to talk about like the concept of Oscar bait, because The Fabelmans did come out and a lot of people are saying it's Oscar bait, and to me, I know exactly what people mean when they say Oscar bait. And I've said Oscar bait before, and I totally know what people mean, but I genuinely don't think Steven Spielberg is out there making movies right now at this point in his career trying to win Oscars. Like, I think he's just making stories he wants to make, which comes across as like this is like an Oscar bait movie because it's about a love of movies. But I don't think for a second Steven Spielberg, when making this movie, was like, this is going to get me so many Oscars. So Oscar bait has a weird meaning to me.
I think the film is Oscar bait, but I don't think it's deliberately Oscar bait. I think it's just a story that is going to win an Oscar. Like I said, I don't think Steven Spielberg set out to produce a film which is going to win an Oscar. I just think this is the sort of film by this highly acclaimed director, this sort of coming of age story of him growing up in the world of cinema. I think this is just sort of the film that will get that. I think it's the same with like I haven't seen it yet, but I can safely say that I probably what's her name? Tar. What's her name? Kate
Blanchett.
Yeah, she'll probably win Best Actress for that. But I haven't even seen it yet. But I feel like that's the film that she'll win it for, because it's like that kind of push. I know what people mean when they say Oscar bait, but I don't think it's a director's necessarily decision, especially not in Spielberg's case. I don't think he's put this film out to win an Oscar. I don't think he really needs to get an acclaim. Like, he's one of the most well-known directors ever. He doesn't need to push a film out just for an Oscar when he's already that highly acclaimed. Does that make sense?
Totally. And to me, like, what true Oscar bait is when a director who doesn't have the most extensive filmography puts out like a biopic or a movie like Tar, where it's like they haven't really gotten much critical success before, and now all of a sudden they're coming out with some like epic biopic. I feel like that's when, to me, I'm like, oh, they're trying to start getting recognized by the Academy here.
There just is that there is like a kind of film which gets recognized by the Academy more, isn't there? For example,
as I'm full on, this is an Oscar bait movie. It's not because of Steven Spielberg. That's not what I'm saying. Like, I agree with you, Tyler. I don't think Steven Spielberg's making this is just a movie that like the Oscar Academy is going to eat up like it's fucking the Menu. They like
the man who hasn't even seen the movie.
Yeah, it's not his fault, but like it's just one of those movies that you see it get made and the Oscars are just gonna like fall in love with it. That's all I mean. That's all I mean by Oscar bait.
Yeah, it's like Steven Spielberg's The Post. Spielberg, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks. It didn't matter how good or how bad that movie was going to be. It was always going to get nominated for Best Picture.
Totally. And then the thing that excites me the most about Fabelmans is like a review I saw, which had literally zero spoilers or anything even about the film. But they said this is like the best film to come from such like the polarization between the film versus the trailer. Like they said, basically the trailer sucks so bad, but the film's so amazing. Because every time I see the trailer, I do like cringe a little bit to the point where I'm like, this is so over the top in your face. Like, we love movies because like it's not that somber music and is it Michelle Williams doing the voiceover? Like. Yeah. We love movies, and it's just like I'm like, oh god, this is giving Nicole Kidman AMC vibes.
I saw a tweet. Someone said, "Why would I watch The Fabelmans when Nicole Kidman's AMC ad exists?"
And I don't even know about Seth. Yeah, how many Seth doesn't even get that.
I don't even know
because he doesn't have AMC.
No. Oh, dude, just Google.
Well, how would I have seen?
I don't know. You just gotta
I
Google.
hear people speaking about it. Or we've got one here which is John Boyega that he does at one of our like showing at one of our cinemas, and it's
That's
the
quite
same thing.
sick though.
Yeah, that's fun.
No, it's annoying, man. Like if it plays all the time, you're gonna inevitably get annoyed.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally agree. Next trailer, Empire of Light. This movie's reception. So everyone's been talking about this week. Babylon's reception is so mixed. Empire of Light's reception is wild right now. Like some people are saying it is just not good at all. Some people are loving it. It's directed by Sam Mendes, who most people know from 1917. This movie's about a romance that develops in a beautiful old cinema on the south coast of England in the 1980s. And I mean, if we're talking Oscar bait, like that one sentence description sounds just screaming for Oscar bait, but it's starring Olivia Colman, Michael Ward, Toby Jones, and Colin Firth. Very, very mixed reviews. It's Sam Mendes, so I'm of course going to see it. I mean, I'm excited for it. I wouldn't say the trailer has me dying to go to the theater to see this one. What do you guys think of Empire of Light?
I will 100% say this. I think. Have you guys seen much of Michael Ward?
No, I can't even picture the face when I read the name.
Okay, so the only thing he was in, he's in a film called Lovers Rock, which I haven't actually seen yet, which has got really high reviews. But he's in a show here, which is like really popular, called Top Boy. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
Basically like a London Street Gang thing. Michael Ward is a really, really great upcoming actor. He's fantastic. I think he's only in his like mid-20s. He's brilliant. I think Olivia Colman is one of the best actresses working in the industry. She is. I would even say that she is underrated. People rate her, but I think people don't understand how good she is.
I'd agree.
Sam Mendes, of course, like we all loved 1917, so that kind of adds a bit of value there. I think I would probably say I'd like this, but again, looking at the graph, especially on Letterboxd, most people are kind of around that kind of 2 to 5, 2.5, 3.5 range. But then there's some at 5, some at half a star. So I'm intrigued by it. I will definitely see it because I think it's something that intrigued me. But with a Michael Ward, Olivia Colman lead, I think it's something that could be exciting or at least have some good performances in it anyway. But also, I'll see it. I'll definitely see it.
Totally. George, any thoughts?
Nothing you guys haven't really said. The early reviews are interesting because obviously Sam Mendes is coming off of 1917, which I think this group unanimously considers one of the greats in the war genre. Roger Deakins is a cinematographer.
Oh yeah.
So
I actually didn't know that until the other day.
Yeah. So coupling Sam Mendes and Roger Deakins is even more incredible that these early reviews aren't amazing. I'm still gonna see this day one or whenever I can because it does interest me. But yeah, it's exciting. The trailer looked good, not great. It didn't get me more hype for the movie than I already was.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think when we speak about Sam Mendes as well, he did do American Beauty.
Yeah, he has an Oscar. He has an Oscar.
We always say 1917, but he did.
Yeah,
like that's a huge film.
Right.
I will say I think, and Bong Joon-ho, I love you. I love Parasite. I think Sam Mendes should have won that award for Best Director. Even though I think Parasite is the better movie.
Like
really?
So Parasite gets the best picture still, but best director was Sam Mendes.
I don't know, man.
I could get on board with that just because the difficulty of 1917 to shoot and direct is insane.
Did they win best soundtrack? 1917.
No, Joker won.
Bro.
Stop it. Stop it. Joker is one of the greatest scores of all time.
Joker's score is incredible.
1917 score.
Have you heard?
No, I listened to it on mute. I watched it on mute.
Playlist?
Bro, 1917 score is unbelievable.
Impeccable.
Thomas Newman. I don't know what else he's done actually. Thomas Newman. That is Thomas Newman, the guy who did 1917 score. That is so good. That is something I listen to on the regular.
I'm not saying it's not amazing. I'm just saying
it's better than Joker. I agree.
If you
That's
guys
Joker bias.
If you guys or anyone listening at home haven't seen it, watch on YouTube like the behind the scenes of how they made 1917. It's like a 30-minute video with Sam Mendes and the production team of how they were making that one shot happen and filming these scenes. Very cool video and just a cool insight into how you would film something so crazy.
Beautiful film, amazing.
Yeah.
I watched it again. It was amazing.
Yeah. So next we had a trailer for Cam's favorite movie from his favorite series, Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Wow.
I think I saw the original a while ago. I didn't see XXL.
I saw the first one.
It's a good movie. I don't care what anyone says.
No, I think the first one was fine.
The first one is a good movie.
What about XXL? Did you see that one?
I don't think I've ever seen XXL.
Okay.
And if I did, maybe a long time ago. This trailer I saw the trailer for the first time before the menu last night, actually, which is also a weird trailer to play before a horror comedy. And Victoria looked over to me and goes, "This isn't giving me Magic Mike vibes. This is giving me Step Up vibes." And I was like, "You're kind of right."
But I kind of know what you mean. I used to love Step Up, like, the cringiest films ever. I used to love them when I was a kid. They were so bad.
There's still good scenes in them, though. Some of the dance scenes are fun. Step Up.
Yeah, but I just mean the general dialogue and acting. It's just so cringe, isn't it? It's the same. You know, like all of those like old school street dance films. They were all kind of the same formula.
Yeah.
And they utilize the same thing. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll watch this, to be honest. I really have no interest in Magic Mike.
Yeah.
First one was fine, as George said. First one was fine.
I'll probably watch it, but the more and more movies I watch and the more I watch per week, the less me saying I'll probably watch it is carrying in terms of gravity. So if a movie says, if I say I'm going to watch a movie, that's not really a glowing mark at this point. I'll watch anything.
I was gonna say, so you're the one trying to get 500 movies in 1 year.
You're doing like 4 cinema trips a day. Like, you're watching anything.
Yeah, dude.
It's mad how I said this to you the other day. I think 2 is my limit a day, usually. Especially if one's like over 2 hours. I can't do like 3 films a day.
Is this 2 theater experiences or just movies, like even if you're at home? 2
movies. If one of them is like 2.5 hours, and say the other one's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'll probably only do 2 that day. I think there's a point where my brain's like I can't process anymore, because I like time to think about a film after I've watched a film.
Yeah.
If I'm just overloading myself, I get really. I like, like we said in a podcast before, I think, Tyler, what the issue can be, if you're seeing if you went to cinema 3 times a day, that third film is not going to be as good for you or enjoyable as it could have been if you watched that the first watch. That makes sense.
It could be,
I think that's the issue I would have, just because you've watched so many.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge, and it takes expert bladder control to be able to pull off these extended theater trips. Expert.
I struggle with that. Wakanda Forever. I was like 50 minutes in, and I didn't go the entire time, and I was absolutely dying at the end of it, man. It's a rookie error drinking any fluids before the cinema. I can't do it.
Especially for an MCU film where you have to stay for the mid-credit or post-credit scene, so you like don't even get that relief of white right when you see the credits roll. You can be run out.
The credits
you
gotta sit there.
We also got a trailer for Missing, which is an upcoming American computer screen thriller film written and directed by Nick Johnson and Will Merrick, from a story by Sev Ohanian and Anish Chaganti. It is a standalone sequel to the 2018 film Searching, and I know, Seth, you are a pretty big fan of Searching. George, I think you might be as well.
George,
what do we think about this? What do we think about Missing? You excited for it?
Surprised. I think we spoke about the podcast that they were doing a sequel. I never knew they had a sequel in plan. I didn't know where they could go from it, but I'm very intrigued. I watched the trailer the other day. I don't know what George thinks, but I'm definitely going to watch it. I think it comes out in February, doesn't it? But that's for you guys. It'll probably come out 2026 for us, something like that, because it's a relatively small release. I don't know when we'll get it, but I'm excited for it because I think the first one is one of the best found footage movies ever.
So it's a horror, right? How scary would you say it is compared to like Blair Witch?
I don't think.
Well, Blair Witch isn't scary, so
stop it. Searching. Stop. So Jesus Christ,
bro, George, can I just say, do you know what I rate Blair Witch? I just want to tell you this.
A 3 out of 5.
No, 2.5.
Stop it, dude. Stop it.
It's my mum's fault. She built it up like, when I was growing up, this was the scariest thing ever. I watched it. I was like, what?
Do you know where it ranks on my found footage ranking?
If it's like 1, it is 1.
It's
bro,
1.
I'd have Wreck above it, 100%. What do you rate Wreck? You like Wreck, don't you?
I love Wreck. 4.5 out of 5, or 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Yeah, that's fine.
No, so back to Searching. Seth, you're really good at rattling me today.
I know, it's funny.
Searching, I would not say it is a scary movie. I recommend it to everyone, regardless of their horror tolerance. I will say Searching has like some reveals and like some beat drops that like genuinely like made me shiver,
anxious suspense,
just like made my spine crawl. Like it's the concept of Searching, Tyler, right? Where it's like everything is through cameras.
I know nothing about Searching.
The way
it's different, man. I'd really recommend watching it. It's not
you're watching an entire movie through a webcam, through iPhone, like FaceTime. So every so often, like you're looking at a computer screen and like a picture comes up,
something jumps up, yeah.
And then like the music is like boom, and it's like, whoa, that's a crazy reveal. So it's not scary, but it's like it's very. I don't even know how to describe it. It's
anxiety inducing.
Yeah, it's a very unique style of filmmaking that I could respect. The Missing trailer, again, shout out The Menu. I saw it for the first time last night before that movie, which makes sense. They gave away the plot. They gave away the twist.
Did they though?
I immediately turned to Victoria and I go, they just ruined their movie.
But did they though?
Unless what they gave away was not like the twist. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think it. If it's the same thing I saw on Twitter, because I did see something on Twitter about it.
I mean, can I say it? Because it's in this trailer.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah,
So
I guess so.
It's that the mom is like living a double life. Like she's not really this girl's mom. She's she's going by a different name. That's a big reveal.
I think they'll have something else planned. I trust these guys from the first one.
So do I. But if that is like
it is, then I am going to be extremely disappointed.
I'm going to be furious.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But
I feel like it could be like in the Civil War trailer, like revealing Spider-Man's in the movie doesn't ruin the movie, but it's like, come on, that would have been cool to see first time in the theater. So maybe that's like a reveal for certain missing. It's like
what? Why did they put Spider-Man in the Civil War trailer?
Because
that is so weird.
Yeah, they should never have done that.
Actually, no, it isn't though, because it's probably made more money that way, didn't it? Let's be fair.
Okay. Also, Civil War is one of the right next to Infinity Gauntlet as like the biggest Marvel graphic novel. I don't think they needed to say that Spider-Man was going to be in it to attract attention.
Mm-hmm. Yes, fair.
It's not like
it was like a mini Avengers film anyway.
Yeah, everyone calls it Avengers 2.5, which I'm perfectly fine with that. It is.
I get it.
Okay. Well, so Missing, we have mixed reviews on the trailer, it sounds like, because we don't know if they gave away too much or not. But we had another trailer, totally opposite end of the spectrum, for Elemental. Pixar movie follows Ember and Wade in a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. This should be just a classic Pixar film, right?
Yeah.
Is this related to Inside Out? It's not, is it? Why did I think it was related to Inside Out?
No, I totally did too, but it's not. It's totally separate, I believe, right? Because there's an Inside Out 2 coming, but Elemental's not related.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
I will say, I don't know how they do it, but their animation gets better and better with every single movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably agree with that.
Every movie, it's just every time I watch a trailer, I'm like, there's no way like the animation is gonna floor me as much as it did. And then I saw, Strange World trailer in Dolby, and I was like, son, this looks brilliant.
I'm so dumb with animation, like dumb, not done. In terms of, I just don't know how it works. Like, what is the bottleneck? Why does it keep getting better? Like, are designers becoming more skilled, or is it just a computer issue? Like, the powerful computers can make it better.
It has to be an increase in just technology, an advancement in technology. I wouldn't think it. Well, maybe it's both. To be fair, like how long have they been working on animated films? Maybe it's just people getting more skill plus the advancement in technology. Mm-hmm. But I know what George means though. Like it is the Strange World animation just looks so good,
so cracked. I was like,
I was looking at there isn't any ratings out for that yet. I don't think.
No, I just checked that on Letterboxd.
I'm looking at that, bro. I'm literally looking there right now.
Yeah, there's nothing.
So do they not even have a premiere or anything?
Yes, Andrew Visuals went to the premiere. I was talking to him yesterday. Actually, he said he loved it. He said it's one of the best of the year.
But I guess there must be like a review embargo or something because there's no reviews posted.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a
best
review embargo on it. I mean, listen, man.
I mean, also Andrew's Visuals. I'm just gonna say right now, there's no way he comes close to the amount of movies watched per year that we do for 2022 releases.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's not anything. Yeah. I don't think that's
a knock to him.
No, not at all.
He will focus on a particular area of movies. I don't think he'll have watched Aftersun. I don't think he watched Banshees. I don't think he watched Decision to Leave because it's just not his film, which is fine.
He did see Banshees, and I think it's his number one of the year, and he's going to see Aftersun next week. Actually, he said
he saw Banshees.
Yeah, he saw Banshees.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I like it.
Yeah, he said he's going to see Aftersun because of my review. Shout out, good review.
Nice. Well,
W.
Shout out, good review.
So the next movie we'll do a quick review of is The Wonder. George, you did not see this, right?
I did not see it. No.
We'll keep it spoiler free. Cam is halfway through, is what he told me. So take that.
Bro, I'm sick of this guy watching films in like 7 sittings.
I just don't get it.
I can't do it. Your enjoyability goes. It just does.
Especially with the movie like The Wonder.
Bro, especially with something as thought-provoking as The Wonder, where you need to be paying attention. On his phone as well. Sits there. It infuriates me.
So I guess I'll just be me and Seth reviewing it. Before I jump into it, I'll just give a quick synopsis. So this is set in the Irish Midlands in 1859 as an English nurse, Libright, goes to a tiny village to observe what some see as a medical anomaly and others see as a miracle. A girl has survived without food for months. Tourists flock to see this 11-year-old Anna O'Donnell, and a journalist has come to cover the sensation as two strangers transform each other's lives in a story of love pitted against evil. So for me, when I was watching this, I don't know, I think it's like 2-hour movie. I think like the first hour and 20 minutes, I was like, this is just like a very average movie. Like I'm not blown away. I don't think it's bad. And then the final 30 minutes come and it just wraps up everything so brilliantly that I was like, this is a very good movie. I gave it a 7.7 out of 10 for 4 stars. But I think for the majority of this, for me, I was just like, okay, it's unfolding. I'm not really like loving this. I'm not hating this. Just kind of waiting to see what happens. Like it wasn't really captivating me much, but then the end came around and redeemed it for me. Seth, what are your thoughts overall on The Wonder?
Yeah, I think I roughly spoke about it a few weeks ago, but obviously now you've seen it, it's a bit easier. I really liked it. I actually was a bit different from you, whereas I think this is more my sort of film. It is quite slow, it is quite driven. I think it's a whole commentary on kind of religion versus science. There's a lot to go into. I think this is a film that definitely will benefit from more watches. I give it the same as Tyler, a 4 out of 5. I think Florence Pugh is fantastic as always. That's just not a surprise. She is great. I think a lot of the cast is great as well. I think the narrative is very straightforward. It doesn't go to places I thought it could do, which did let me down. I think it lost its footing at certain points. But I think, honestly, the sound design was incredible.
So
Tyler, do you
eerie.
not think it has like horror elements to
No.
the sound and set design?
This is a movie that's it's billed as a psychological thriller, but the score and the sound and like the ticking and
eerie.
It is creepy as hell, man.
I loved that. I mean, that's just like, I think I said that when I spoke about it before, that George, I think, will really like this because it has these kind of psychological horror aspects which do kind of induce this paranoia effect on you. But yeah, I really liked it. I think I liked it a lot. Actually, I'll give it 4 out of 5. Yeah. I think I like with you obviously the end, sort of the final 40 minutes you enjoyed a lot more than the first. I actually enjoyed the whole thing on a kind of consistent level, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So none of it blew me away, but I liked all of it. Although I did think the start was a weird decision.
And the end. Like I was gonna ask, this isn't spoiling it. This isn't literally doesn't spoil anything. But what do you think about the start and the end? So basically, and the clip went pretty big on Twitter too. So again, this literally takes nothing away from the movie. So the beginning of the movie is them on like a production set, like in a warehouse. Like this is where the movie's being made, and it's just panning throughout it with a voiceover. And then it just pans all the way until like the first room you see of the movie. So like a movie starts with you saying like this movie, like life is about stories, and it's basically showing what the set of the movie looks like. And then all of a sudden it just sucks you into the movie 30 seconds in, and then you just never return to it. And in the very end, the movie ends, the narrative's over, and it pulls back out again. You're back on a production set. And what does the woman say? She just says like,
it breaks the fourth wall sometimes.
Yeah, it breaks the fourth. And that was creepy as hell too. And she did that.
That was creepy
because it wasn't like a comedic break of the fourth wall. It was kind of like, ew, like I don't want you like knowing I'm watching. Like, gross.
There was like a scene, George, where like one of the characters just directly stops and just stares at the camera. And it slowly like zooms, and she's just speaking to the viewer. I am not a huge fan of a lot of the fourth wall thing. The start, Tyler. The reason I didn't love it is because when I'm watching a film, I don't want to be told it's a film. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want to escape into this world, and I don't want to be told that like I'm watching a film. Does that make sense? I think it just kind of takes it out of me a bit. It was interesting. I've not seen them before. It's original.
Definitely when you press play on the movie to start it, you're like, what the hell?
I was like, am I in the right thing right now?
Yeah.
I was like,
oh yeah, because you saw it in theaters. Yeah, I'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah, I saw it in the cinema, and I was like, what am I watching, like a documentary or something?
What does the woman really say at the very end when it pulls back out to the production set? Does she say like TikTok or like on off or?
So yeah, something about that. Weird decision. A lot of people.
I think it's in out.
Yeah. I think we're in the minority, because I've seen a lot of people really like it, which I kind of get because it is a bit weird. Like,
basically, this movie's a good psychological thriller. I wouldn't call it like up with the greats. But I'd say
it's very good for a Netflix original.
Right. It's a very good psychological thriller that they decided to bookend with very weird scenes that
I
don't know. I'm just too dumb in my movie knowledge and critical ability to look at a film to understand at all what the point or what they're going with or what the deeper meaning behind that is.
I didn't understand it. Yeah.
No clue, but Florence Pugh is absolutely incredible. The twists are interesting. And the way it all resolves is, I thought, very creative, very good. I know it is based on a book, so I mean, I guess the screenplay adaptation is very good, but I guess you got to give credit to the book for the overall what happens.
People get annoyed if you don't do that.
Yeah.
If you don't give the credit to the original adaptation, people are just like
but
that's the thing is.
I do think this movie was very slow, and it didn't do itself any favors because there are scenes of Florence Pugh walking through the Irish fields for some minutes.
Do you think the setting was very reminiscent of Banshees in terms of the setting?
Yeah. Except it was I feel like Banshees was always like sunny, or at least like more.
Well, it was bleak, wasn't it? It was really dark, bleak.
Yeah,
it's a kind of shadowy, contrasting lighting, which which is why I would say there's horror elements, because the sound design with the setting really added to that. But I know what you mean. There's a lot of scenes that are quite slow, but for me, that's something I really enjoy. But I think a lot of people won't like that, and it's one of those.
Yeah, and then I think there's nowhere near the movie that Don't Worry Darling was. I think it's just coming in my head because Florence Pugh is also in that. But there's similar elements to where you're in the setting, and then all of a sudden you realize things aren't exactly right, like you did in Don't Worry Darling with like the dancing ballet or the mirrors. And this one, I think it's like when she like pricks her finger with blood like twice or something. Or there's just a couple scenes where you're just like, something's weird going on here that I don't know. But then it would just keep going, like things are normal, and you're like, it's just very unsettling is the best way to describe this movie.
Yeah, I don't think we should go into spoilers for this. I think this is one where you just kind of
right. Yep, I think I'm done with it at that point. Do you have any more you want to add to the wonder?
No, we both rated it 4 out of 5. Both enjoyed it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But if you do watch it, comment down below or tweet us. Like, tell us about the opening scene and the ending scene, like what you think of it, because I'm baffled by it. I don't know what to make of it. It's just odd.
I think I need to do a bit of research into that, actually, to be fair. It's one of those films.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to do a quick review of My Policeman, but Cam is not here, so I was going to do it with Cam. To me, this movie was just like a 5 out of 10 movie, like just a very average film. It's in the late 1990s. The arrival of elderly invalid Patrick into Marion and Tom's home triggers the exploration of seismic events from 40 years previous. The passionate relationship between Tom and Patrick at a time when homosexuality was illegal. Very similar vibes to Brokeback Mountain here, and that's not just because of the homosexuality aspect. It's just because people are in a profession, like Harry Styles in this is a policeman. You can't be a homosexual in that profession. Similar like the ranch hands, how they in Brokeback Mountain, it was just like forbidden, not allowed. Like that's not what people do here. They both have relationships with women that they're hiding from, walking away. The woman starts to find out, things go awry. A lot of parallels to Brokeback Mountain here, and even beyond the homosexuality aspect, the story of My Policeman is one I just feel like I've seen so many times, and this didn't add anything to that narrative. And Harry Styles, when he's acting, it's the same as Don't Worry Darling for me. When he's acting good, he's fine. But there's a few scenes when he gets really mad or loud that are just so bad. Like when he tries too hard, it just completely crumbles. I guess I was dumb and just avoided everything on Twitter about this movie because apparently Cam's like, oh, the sex scenes were like viral on Twitter. I didn't know at all. I had no clue what this movie was about at all. I just knew it was Harry Styles. It's called My Policeman. So I was in my gym in my garage the other day and I was like, while I'm working out, I'm just going to press play on this on my Apple TV. Start watching it. No clue what it's about. And I was like, oh, shit. Like Harry Styles is in a lot of sex scenes in this. So I guess everyone knew that but me. This is not what I was expecting to watch during my workout. But I gave it like a 5 out of 10. That was just like a screamingly average movie.
It's very polarizing as well. Like when you look at the graph on Letterboxd, a lot of people give it a 5, but then a lot of people have also given it like a 2. It's one of those which is getting some quite negative and positive reception. I might watch it this week actually because I think see where I sit on the line.
Yeah, I think a reason it's getting such high reviews isn't just because people see Harry Styles 5 stars. I think it's because when people see Harry Styles in a movie, he's bringing people that don't normally watch a ton of movies, I guess. So Don't Worry Darling, for example, I see a lot of people on TikTok and are rating that as such a highly regarded psychological thriller. When people who have watched like a lot of psychological thrillers, a lot of movies, it was a fine movie, but it's not up there with like a 4.5 out of 5 or 5 stars.
I think that can also go the opposite way, though, wouldn't you say? Because people see Harry Styles, they see someone who isn't an actor trying to get into acting because they're also an actor celebrity. So a lot of them will rate it lower because they don't think that's right, that he's got a big role.
Yeah, that could be, but I feel like his fans overwhelmingly like went to that movie, especially if Florence Pugh was in it too. And then same with this one, I feel like for me, like I said, this is a story I've seen so many times that this just added nothing to the narrative. Whereas people who just haven't seen Brokeback Mountain, haven't seen any romance film like that's similar to this, where it's just someone in a relationship that's forbidden, that already has an existing relationship that they're being unfaithful to, and it kind of crumbles their life. This is a movie we've seen so many times, but if you haven't seen movies like that, you see this, I can totally see someone watching this and be like, this is a very good movie. But for me, it just felt very unoriginal. So I think when Harry Styles comes to a movie, it's going to bring people that haven't seen or aren't very much as into cinema. Maybe same with Dunkirk. Maybe people like Dunkirk more, because wasn't he in that for like a split scene or two?
No, he was in it for quite a lot in Dunkirk, but he just didn't have many lines.
Okay, because that was one where I knew he was in it, and when I went to see it in theaters, I was like looking for it, because that was like his first movie, I believe, and I was like, I didn't really ever notice him, because like I don't think he really had much lines at all, but he was in.
No, he didn't. He's actually in quite a lot of the scenes, but in the background, he doesn't actually have many lines. I think the easy way to say, if you want a film about a forbidden relationship hiding from their partners, watch Brokeback Mountain. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's an amazing film. But
excellent.
I'll watch it this week. I'll see what I think of it. See where I sit on that anyway.
We'll be interested to see what you think. We'll hop into nerd news now. So first up, nerd news. Cam said it before. We're talking about Star Wars, Marvel, DC. We're all nerds here.
We're all it's all nerd news. We're all nerds. That's it.
So we'll start with Star Wars. So Andor is being released on ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu. Someone, I think Cam put this in, said can't be a good sign, and I couldn't agree more. That's so disappointing to hear, because that whole universe and oh god, Cam's coming back for nerd news. Andor is.
I've been listening to this entire thing, man. I've just been like.
I thought you fell asleep, honestly.
Dude, I've been trying to, man. I feel like horrible.
Andor's been widely critically acclaimed by so many people that it is just one of the best Star Wars projects of all time. Everyone's loving it. Great series. But the viewership and the ratings by the common folk don't seem to be following suit. And I think this is just right up there, that they're releasing it on other platforms, maybe hoping to get those audience to see what Star Wars is making and be like, hey, this isn't just classic Star Wars. We're going deeper. But also maybe it's trying to make some more money. I don't really know. What do you think, Cam? You're back for nerd news. What do you think about this?
This is just a bummer because, like you said, this is a very good show. Like, it truly is a really, really good show. It's well written, well produced, well acted, has an very intense episodes that will keep someone. But yes, what it doesn't have lightsabers. And
doesn't have Darth Vader.
Doesn't have
Luke Skywalker.
God, and there are they talk about the Emperor a ton. So it's like, it's still there. It's still in Star Wars. And, it's unfortunate. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, like, they haven't released viewership, obviously, but I'm guessing it's not doing as well. I bet the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, like, solos this shit by a mile.
In terms of viewership, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of viewership, yeah. And that's just not I love that show to death. I say it all the time. That's like it's one of my favorite shows ever, just because I love Star Wars. It's not very good.
Kenobi.
Yeah, it's not very good. And then other than like the final battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, but yeah, that's all I got.
Unfortunate news, but I hope it pays off. I hope this is a gamble that works out, because especially FX, like, I don't know how much you guys know cable TV stations, but FX has a lot of shows that I think Andor could gain some viewership from. So maybe this is a move that's going to actually pay dividends for Disney tenfold, and they're exposing people that maybe are more casual Star Wars fans, maybe even didn't see the sequels, and they're like, Star Wars, that Fantasyland stuff, like lightsabers, the Force, like, that's just not for me. But then Andor is so grounded, so dark, so gritty, that maybe they can pull in some new audiences. But it still just can't be a good sign. Like, they're not gonna, if they have an ace in the bag and they're making tons of money on Disney Plus from something, they're not going to go and give it to other TV networks.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Getting into Marvel, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever passes $400 million at the box office. Not really surprised there. We know this one's going to cross $1 billion. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised at that one.
This is easy billion. Easy.
To be fair, I would say it deserves it. Like, if we're talking about like Marvel movies in general, this one's one that I think could get $1 billion. It should get $1 billion.
Actually, though, I think it may start slowing down because it's not getting a release in China, I believe. And that's
really,
yeah, it's because it's got two women implying they're in love with each other. So China banned it.
So is Strange World not going to be released in China either then?
I think so. I don't know, but like Black Adam didn't get released in China. Which that one, was there any homosexuality in that? I don't remember, honestly, but
I don't know.
That's normally why things don't get released in like China.
That one might just be because there's an uprising and they're like, no, we can't show this to our people.
That's like just where a ton of money comes from.
Mhm.
You know, like if a movie's gonna make it big at a box office, it needs to be released.
Well, I mean, look at the population.
Yeah, obviously. I'm just
I
saying.
think like I do think it will make $1 billion. I think if there's going to be, but you know, you look down the list, the films that have actually made $1 billion, half of them are not good.
You
Like,
know,
it's-
Jurassic
often
World
it's not really
Dominion
on the
this year.
quality.
Jurassic World Dominion crossed $1 billion. Did you guys know that?
That's crazy. Like films like the Minions and stuff, because of how much they're memed. Making money doesn't often determine the quality of the film. I feel like,
No.
and Wakanda Forever is one of the biggest sequels we've had, you know, because of the meaning, because of, you know, obviously Chadwick Boseman's passing, and we all agree, we agree, that it's a pretty, good film. So
Yeah.
I think if a film is going to cross $1 billion, especially Marvel, I even without the release in China, I probably still see this happening. I don't see it not, to be honest. It's you know, it's a huge film, isn't it?
Isn't Furious 7 still in like the top 10 highest grossing films of all time?
Bro,
Like,
sorry, not to. Have you seen the budget for the new Furious? Like 10?
350 million.
That's it's like I think it's like the fourth biggest ever. I didn't realize On Stranger Tides, Pirates of the Caribbean was the.
Yeah.
That is such a bad film. I'm sorry, it's a bad
Terrible.
film.
Johnny Depp got a bag though.
Yeah, well, of course he did. Like, how much did he get? Do we know?
I don't know, but he had to have gotten a bag.
Oh, it's the bad. You know what? I said this is a bad film. People hate me for that. People like the last.
That's
two
the same with
bad
Transformers. People hate you if you shit on that. But a few months ago, I posted on TikTok. I was like, I'm watching through all the Transformers movies, or not Transformers. I already did that. I'm watching through all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I'll give my reviews. So I did the first 3, reviewed them, which the first 3 I think are genuinely pretty good. And then like everyone,
the first one I think is great.
yeah,
The first
and even the second one, I still think you can get enjoyment
Yeah,
from. And even the third, I still enjoyed. It definitely goes down every movie, but still the first 3, I will say
I'm
are
with
good.
you where it's like there and then it starts to slow.
Mhm.
First 3, I can get enjoyment out of. First one, very, very, very good. Second one, good film. Third one, it's okay, it's fine.
Right.
But then it starts to really go down.
Exactly. And I've been getting comments where people are like, when are you going to finish your Pirates of the Caribbean watch through? Because I finished the first 3. I'm just like, I just don't want to go watch
Have you not
them.
seen?
Never.
Have you not seen?
No,
the
I
first
have, but I like
Okay.
haven't reviewed them. So I did the first 3, and then I was like, I just know where this goes from here.
one? Oh man,
I don't want to go down this.
I'm not. I don't hate them as much as Cam. I think he gave both of them a half a star. I think that's very harsh.
I just
half
hate
a
how,
star
like,
is low.
The first few movies of Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow was a drunk, but he was smart and witty. And then he just became like comedic relief by like the 4th and 5th, to where it's like, we're not making him a drunk comedic relief, we're making him an actual idiot who doesn't know
Just
how
an
to do
idiot.
anything.
Yeah, it takes away all the charm that he had in the first 2 films.
Totally. But back to nerd news, which Pirates of the Caribbean can be lumped in with nerd news, so I won't even say we've strayed off topic. Lindsay Lohan wants to join the MCU, and to this I just have to say, who doesn't? We talked about this, I think, when Sydney Sweeney, like probably a while ago, said she was joining, or whoever we said that someone wants to join the MCU. It's like, of course they do. Like, why wouldn't they? Lindsay Lohan, though, oh, that would just feel so forced. I don't know where you could put her.
Imagine she got cast as Sue Storm. I would lose my mind.
That would be absolutely
I would
hilarious.
lose.
Yeah, but
my
she's a
shit.
huge name. She's a huge name, though, isn't she?
She
So I can
was a
imagine that.
huge name. She was.
No, but she's still like she still have a big following. She still have a lot of fans.
Yeah, you're right. She would still be a box office pull, especially with the
Yeah, of course.
millennial generation.
Would she though?
The people older than us. The people older.
I
There's a
feel
lot
like-
of people who that might bring an older audience into the MCU. a little more.
Once you start doing Hallmark Christmas movies, I feel like you're not bringing in, audience members to watch your movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is the MCU we're talking about, though, isn't it? Like,
I guess.
the MCU is one for taking on these actors. Like we've seen it with. I'm not comparing Harrison Ford with with Lindsay Lohan, but at the back tail of their career, when they're not doing as good films as they once were, I think it is a case where it will. If they brought her in, she's going to have a lot of a following and fans that will flock to her film.
Yeah.
She's still a big name, isn't she? We're not,
Yeah.
I mean, she's not like the biggest name, but
Yeah.
she's still there. Do you know what I mean?
She's like the Avril Lavigne of movies, where like Avril Lavigne's career
Perfect
has gone
comparison.
so downhill, and now she's like in with like Machine Gun Kelly and Travis Barker, and she's trying to get in with like the younger crowd to keep herself relevant.
Yeah, but
What
I feel
was
like that's
it?
what a lot of that would do.
Going
Like,
back
go to the
down.
MCU to stay relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I
What
mean?
was
That's
that Lindsay
the thing.
Lohan movie that was like a Disney Channel movie where she was like a driver with like Herbie was her car, Herbie Unloaded or Fully Loaded?
Oh yeah,
I have no idea what that is.
Right.
Yeah, Herbie Fully Loaded. Iconic.
yeah.
Next up, new Silk series in development at Amazon and MGM. Angela Kang will be the showrunner. Phil Lord and Chris Miller will executive produce. Is Silk? Is this the Sony superhero?
I'm pretty sure that does fall.
I've never heard of
So-
this.
It's in the Spider-Verse universe, I believe.
Okay, and I think this was the beginning of what sounds like is going to be a partnership that Sony and Amazon are trying to make, which I don't know. Sonyverse has already been like shit on and people hate on it, and Amazon, they're trying so hard to be a good streaming service, and I just think they keep failing. Like I think Rings of Power, I know there's people who love that show. I think it's right now it's a pretty big failure, I would have to say, for Amazon. And I just think they're trying so hard, and Sonyverse is trying so hard as well, that I don't know if two companies desperate to try and get a success working together will end up working in a success for either of them.
I think Rings of Power would have always been a failure.
Really?
I think with the amount of people who were so unbelievably against it because of it's not following the law, I think Rings of Power would have always had the hate that it's got. No matter how good it would have been, people would always hated it. Because
I don't know if
you don't think?
No. I do think Rings of Power did not blow up maybe or become as big as Amazon Prime maybe had expected it to, but I don't know if I would go as far to call it a failure. I still think it's a good show.
I'm saying failure of like I only watched the first 4 episodes. I need to catch up, but I think it was perfectly fine. I actually quite enjoyed it. But I mean failure as in like the
public,
a lot of the public's eye on it.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's done. I don't know how it's done like money wise, because obviously we know about the budget.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a failure from what I've seen. I think it's I don't think it's amazing. I think it's a perfectly fine show.
I don't think it's circulated as well as Amazon wanted it to.
Yeah, because a lot of people wouldn't give it the chance because they were so
Yeah.
against the production of it in the first place.
Yeah.
But, I think Amazon's actually my most used streaming service, to be honest. Because there's all the other subscriptions you can get with it. Like
you can
Arrow
use it to
Video.
get like Showtime and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I watch like all my films, so I probably use Amazon.
I personally hate Amazon's like user interface, and that's kind of what makes me most sour to it.
I actually agree. I do not like the interface either. It's quite annoying.
HBO Max supremacy.
We don't even get that, so.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
It looks good, HBO Max. You get some really good stuff on there, don't you?
we get some great stuff on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I wanna
Joker.
get- What's that?
Joker.
Oh, The Dark Knight. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
all DC. And speaking of DC, we'll hop into DC news. Peter Safran and James Gunn say that they will reveal DC's full plan in the next 2 months. And to that, I just want to say, so James Gunn right now is working still post-production and getting ready for a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special release, all whilst putting himself in a deadline of saying 2 months he'll release his DC plan. Like, A, he's got to be making so much money, and B, will he see his family for Christmas or Thanksgiving? Like, does he have a family? Because I don't know how you can be doing a Marvel movie
I think that's the
release,
case with a lot of them, though.
and you're not. He's doing a Marvel movie release and not planning a DC movie. He says he's revealing their DC plan for the next 10 years in the next 2 months. How is he doing?
Is he doing
I-
Guardians 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so he is.
I read Peter Safran and James Gunn say that we'll release
The full DC plan in the next 2 months. I read Peter Safran and James Gunn are full of shit.
I don't know.
there's-
I think like DC, with all that DC's done, I feel like it's unacceptable for them to be able to not have a plan.
they're 1 month into this job.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Things
fast.
take so much time to
It's
do
not
that.
even that. Like if they come out next week or whatever, and they start revealing this 10-year plan, and in that 10-year plan, they're as vague as possible, where they're just like, you know what,
This is going to be
we want to do a Man of Steel 2. Maybe we'll bring back Zack Snyder.
things that people
are.
are already kind of know.
Yeah, but like there is absolutely no way in hell that he's going to come out with like this concrete outline of their next 10 years
Within-
ironing the way Marvel has planned phases like 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 1 million.
If they did,
do we think the MCU will ever end? Sorry, that's a complete different discussion, but like,
Let's talk about this on our real quick on Wednesday because we
Okay.
can talk
I
a
just,
lot.
I'm picturing like a Phase 38 in my head. Do you know what I mean?
well, okay, so yeah,
that-
just
That's a good plug for our real quick.
preview for people. We are filming this week. We are planning on filming a real quick of our overall thoughts on Phase 4 and the future of the MCU. So look forward to that coming out soon. But back to DC, I think, yeah, I can see where George is coming from, where it's just like not going to be feasible for them to do it. But at the same time, if they came out and released at like a press conference, like a PowerPoint slide, like Kevin Feige does, and says December 2023, Man of Steel 2, and they just start listing off titles and release dates, that would blow up the internet beyond belief if they were able to just like lay out. It's not going to happen.
To be. Yeah,
but if they did, that would
not.
be bigger than any movie drop news ever. If they just like all of a sudden were like, hey, I know we've been shit, but look, these are the next 10 titles we have coming out in the next 4 years. That would be crazy. Won't happen.
I agree, but it's not going to happen.
The rest of the news here, I think we can just skip over here. James Gunn tweeted a picture of Mr. Terrific. Cam says, who gives a shit? Does anyone give a shit?
I don't even know who that is. So, no.
And then Constantine reboot will be rated R. We talked about this probably, I don't know, 6 episodes ago?
Oh, yeah.
I think this was episode 1.
Yeah,
Was it?
It felt like a long
think.
time ago.
Wow. I think this was one of like the big pieces of news we were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think this is much.
I'm not excited for this.
Yeah, I don't think it's much here. I think being rated R normally for superhero movies, you're like, oh, they're going to go dark and this is exciting because they're taking a risk. But for this one, I feel like they know it's not going to get the same general audience excitement as any other one. So going rated R isn't going to really kill the audience that's going to go seeing this.
Yeah. Seth, do you know what the highest grossing R-rated comic book movie of all time is?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's this,
it's the one with that guy with the paint on his face, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's that real. It's the, no, it's the one that's like the king of comedy, but it's not. Yeah. I know it. It's so good. I know.
It's the masterful Joker starring.
How much did that actually make? Like over $1 billion. I know it made $1 billion.
Yeah, over $1 billion.
I'm surprised that you don't have the exact number. Like 1.576.
That same film nominated 9 times at the Oscars, and it won
best
original score
over.
Bro, you shit on the Oscars too much to use that as a valuable resource in your argument.
I told you, if it benefits my argument, I will use it.
Right, carry on, Tyler. I'm sick of this guy.
Well, that's it for Nerd News this week. Cam, do you want to do Cam and Tyler's quick Christmas roundup, or are you dead? And thumbs down. So
People are gonna be watching the video like, what is this guy?
So I'll do a quick Christmas run through because it is starting to get to be the season where tons of Christmas movies are being released. So speaking of Lindsay Lohan, which we just talked about, Falling for Christmas, very much a Hallmark-esque movie that came out. It's a Netflix original, but Hallmark Christmas movies is something most people understand. It's just like a cringy, basic plot. Plot of this one: a newly engaged and spoiled hotel heiress finds herself in the care of a handsome, blue-collar lodge owner and his precocious daughter after getting total amnesia in a skiing accident. And every single Hallmark Christmas movie is the same way. It's usually a very rich, wealthy woman somehow gets mixed up with some poor blue-collar guy. And then he's like, then he just totally changes her world. This one's freaking hilarious because she goes skiing, hits her head.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it.
I thought Cam watched it. I didn't realize.
No, all 3 of these, I would have skipped these. I've seen all 3 of these Christmas movies. So this one, she hits her head and gets amnesia. She doesn't remember who she is.
Dude,
and
she would have died. She would have fucking died.
Yeah, like a colossal ski accident.
Bro,
and
get up.
And so she like goes to this like hotel where Cord Overstreet, which people, if they watch Glee, they would recognize him from. He works there, and basically she doesn't remember anything. So at first it's like hilarious. He's like, oh, let's just like act like she's works here and like have her clean rooms, and like she just starts like doing chores around the hotel. But then they end up falling for each other. And then all of a sudden she remembers who she is, remembers she's rich as hell, and that her dad owns the rich fancy hotel that's going to put her new boy's bumbling main stupid lodge out of business. And honestly, it's super corny, super cringy, just like any Hallmark movie. But I enjoyed this. Like, I literally laughed probably 14 times out loud because of how crazy some of the...
Okay.
Not because of the comedy. But when I'm watching these kind of movies, that's what I'm looking for. I want to laugh out loud at the ridiculousness, and I totally got that. Because there's like a scene where like he has to go say... like she's leaving town, and he has to go catch her before she leaves. So he gets on his snowmobile, starts it, doesn't work. Then all of a sudden he sees in his yard like a big thing under this big tarp, and he's like, what is that? Opens it, it's a fucking sleigh. Yeah. And he has horses pull him on a sleigh to town.
I don't watch Christmas movies at the best of times. I will not be watching this.
No, there's no need to. There's no
cinematic genius right here.
I have a couple of notes of.
I can't wait to hear these.
This is going to be absurd.
They're going to be so dumb. I love the way it assesses it.
No, I don't have like a ton of good notes this time, but I will say this has the classic like your fucking company is dying and this lodge is going out of business and he refuses to accept a fundraiser. He's like, I will not take charity. You should. You're gonna lose this business. you. Also, I have the moral of the story is if you have a dying business, hope a very rich woman loses all her memory and falls in love with you.
Yeah,
So that's kind of all the points I had, but
Yeah,
I rated it way too highly. I'll probably drop it, but I honestly, like Tyler said, I didn't have a bad time.
What did you rate it?
Like a 50 out of 100.
Tyler, what did you rate it?
2.4 out of 10.
2.4.
Jesus.
Bro,
I mean, like
2.5 is bad.
yeah.
What's hilarious too is at the very end when people in the town start giving him money so his lodging stay in business. It's just the funniest reasons ever. Like he basically has like a bucket that he's collecting money that his like daughter sets up for him because he's too prideful to. And people will be like, "Yeah, one time I needed my car to get towed and you helped me out of that ditch." And then puts a check in there. And he's like, "One time we had our honeymoon here and we had a great experience." And then just give him like a big check.
What's it
this
called?
Stupidest thing. Falling for Christmas.
It's not Hallmark. Don't rope it under that. It's a Netflix. That's the new vibe.
Hallmark.
This crap.
I know.
Yeah, Hallmark is just a genre at this point.
I know. I agree.
But yeah, very, very.
No, I'm not watching that.
It was fun, but it's not a good movie. But the other two Christmas movies, I genuinely enjoyed, and again, I didn't think they were bad. One, I think, is better than the other. Cam, did you finish Spirited?
No, I didn't finish Spirited. And then A Christmas Story Christmas I watched prior to hopping on that live last night. Couldn't tell you a damn thing about it. couldn't tell you anything. So
Yeah, I have a question, and I hate to keep harping on your night. Is wine your like go-to drink of choice?
No.
Always?
I
No.
can't drink wine. I hate wine.
like it's become a new thing as like Emma and I
As you
gotten
age.
older. It's easier
is
to
a
just
bit,
you
yeah.
have a little glass of wine at night. But no,
I
I'm
think a
never
wine.
drinking- I'm
You
never
say
drinking
that-
wine again.
You say as you become older, you're the youngest one here. Is that just like a
I'm not-
dad thing?
I have a child,
not-
man. I'm so old.
know.
Yeah,
I
but
do
no,
eat
it's
wine
But
hangover.
no, I'm out on both of these. Sorry, Tyler.
right
Wine
before
hangover.
right before the live. Cam texted me. He's like, "Just finished A Christmas Story Christmas. Don't remember any of it, but I think I'm just gonna like rate it and just stick with it and say fuck it." I'm like, "What the
Just give it a 5. Just give it a 5.
I'm out. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about that movie.
Well,
I will say it's got decent score. It's got 3.2, which is like not as bad as I thought.
yeah, so I'll hop into my review real quick. So I am a huge fan of A Christmas Story. It's my favorite Christmas movie. I watched it.
I'm coming back for the draft.
Okay, I've literally watched it dozens of times as a kid. And this sequel came out 40 years later. And for a movie coming out 40 years after the original, I genuinely enjoyed this. I gave it a 6.6 out of 10. All the same. So if you've seen A Christmas Story, you know the directing and editing style is very unique. Like basically it's very fantastical. He'll be thinking about a situation and then all of a sudden he'll be daydreaming in his head about him as like a gunslinging cowboy with like his new like Christmas presents, and he's like acting like in a little movie in his head. So it's a very fantastical production. Captures all that same vibe in this. Lots of
Is it the same
returning.
guy?
Yeah, and he looks
I
eerily like he
watched
does as a kid. And it's not just him, like the bullies from the original. Like there's a lot of returning cast members that all look like eerily similar to what they did 40 years ago. And they all look pretty good. I was like, that's impressive. This movie literally came out 40 years ago. It was good enough. This is going to be added to my Christmas movie rotation going forward, mainly because I love A Christmas Story so much. And this movie has some scenes that are very sad. It has some classic, just like slapstick comedy that's going to be hit or miss. But all in all, I was very pleasantly surprised. I had like zero expectation for this because I thought it was just going to be a cash grab. But the character who plays Ralphie in the original one, who's now older, and the main character this one, he's the producer of this. And I was thinking, I bet he's pretty wealthy because I bet that movie gets so many royalties because it plays every Christmas. But he's actually like he was one of the villains in Spider-Man Far From Home. He's produced a lot of movies. So I was like, because it said his net worth was like 12 million, which I was like, for an actor, that's actually pretty high because I feel like a lot of them that aren't mainstream actors are in the single digit millions. But I was like, but then I looked at his IMDb and he's like been a producer for, God, I don't have it up. I can't remember, but like TV shows that we all know the name of. Like he's like the executive producer. So like the kid from A Christmas Story, he had like a solid movie career of like being a producer and like showrunner.
I've actually seen that a lot. You know, in like kids are in like film early and they'll do like acting jobs. I think there's quite a few of them who who go into the kind of the producing roles when they're older, when they struggle to get the main cast and they try and go into that role. So it kind of makes sense. And like you said, 12 million. It's not bad, is it?
So
very good.
Yeah, F is for Family. He's the executive producer of that show. I know that's a pretty popular show, and he was literally he's an executive producer for 30 for 30, which is a very popular ESPN series. And then he was an actor in Spider-Man Far From Home. He was one of the people in that rebellion of the Tony Stark Industries people. He was an elf, so he's been in quite a bit. But I'll leave it at that. Very pleasantly surprised. Then Spirited came out. So each Christmas Eve, the Ghost of Christmas.
He's also in Iron Man 1.
Oh, really? I guess that makes sense because he's a Stark Industries employee.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
This man Cam gets up to yell at us about the MCU.
Quick side note about Iron Man, which is hilarious, is that someone tweeted that like went pretty viral. It's like, how long is it until Elon Musk gets a cameo in an MCU movie? And then everyone's replying like, bro, he was literally in like the first one. He was in like Iron Man
3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 or whatever.
He's in Iron Man 3. When's he in Iron
A
Man 3?
very quick cameo. Tony Stark is at like
yeah.
a charity convention or something for New Year's Eve, and he talks to.
And Tony Stark's car in that movie is a Tesla, I believe. So it was like
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2. I don't remember that. Fair.
It's at the Monte Carlo race.
When is
People,
that when
you
Whiplash
people.
comes out for the
Come
first
on.
time?
Yes.
Is that when the villain comes
yes.
for the first time? It is, isn't it? Yeah. I remember that.
So quick synopsis on Spirited. So it's starring Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, Tracy Morgan, and Octavia Spencer, which for like a comedic Christmas movie with a cast like that, it's going to capture anyone's attention. It's long though. It's like 2 hours, 15 minutes. And for me, the musical numbers were bordering on the line of being fun to being just drawn out and unnecessary. Cam, like, I know you didn't finish it, but the movie's pretty dark. Like there's some scenes in here, like I know it's about the Christmas Carol story, so they have to follow the same like Tiny Tim theme with like a kid like ended up dying because of decisions, but there's some like dark stuff in this movie, and there's like very suggestive sexual commentary. So I don't really know who the target audience is here because I feel like it's not for kids. Cam, I don't know.
Have you seen the director's filmography? Like, it kind of makes sense.
I was
I've
half.
not. What's
I was
the
half.
filmography?
He did Daddy's Home 1 and 2. He did
Bangers.
Sex Drive. He did
Bangers.
Horrible Bosses 2.
Bangers.
That's my boy. It's bad. I'm not hearing any good things about it. But you think Daddy's Home 2 is good?
He's kidding. He's kidding.
Okay, thank God for that. Like, I didn't even like Daddy's Home 1, to be honest. I thought that was a bad film. But it doesn't surprise me that this has got kind of that sort of material in.
Yeah, so I give it a 4.6 out of 10. I genuinely enjoyed the first act. It just got way too long and too many musical numbers, but I think it's a pretty good, fresh take on the classic Christmas Carol Christmas story. So I enjoyed it. I thought Spirited, if you need a Christmas movie, it's worth a watch. A Christmas Story
Why
Christmas.
is it over 2 hours?
Exactly. There's no need for that to be over 2 hours. A Christmas Story Christmas, I highly recommend everyone. And then Falling for Christmas, if you want some good laughs, it's a solid one. But that ends Cam and Tyler's quick Christmas roundup, starring Tyler as your only host, with Cam not being a participant. It's a great
Completely
segment.
unrelated to me being extremely ill. We probably got to speed this thing up. I don't have as much time today. I didn't think we'd be going as long, so that's my bad. But
Okay.
I don't have much longer. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll
I'll be able to get through it, but just
sounds
saying
good. We'll move into TV and movie news. Jennifer Aniston says there are no more movie stars. Cam, you said you wanted to say one thing about this.
I just, who cares about this? But I just wanted to say, like, I think just celebrities now, we know too much about them, and it's so online now. Every celebrity has a social media that they try to run. Every celebrity, you see everything about them. And so it's like, I think we just have too much information on these celebrities now, and anyone can become one. If you get 1 billion followers on TikTok, you'll become a celebrity. Like, I don't think celebrities matter as much as they used to. Like, there's no lure of like a celebrity, like, that fucking photo at the Oscars that like broke the internet was the most
the selfie with all.
Yeah. If it happened today, I would think, who gives a shit about this? Like, that was just when
I thought that would happen
Twitter,
too.
I can't lie, so did I. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't care about
No,
that.
I probably didn't either. I'm just saying, like, I think I and a whole lot of people also would say, like, who gives a shit about this? So I agree with her. Like, there are no more really movie stars. I mean, because I just think like celebrities are not real anymore. Like
Daniel Radcliffe doesn't have social media. Be like Daniel Radcliffe.
Sure.
That's the guy. That's the guy to follow if you want to.
As I just said, we need to speed it along. I went on a rant about nothing useful, but continue.
RRR working on a sequel. I'm excited to see this.
Awesome.
I hope they bring back a lot of the similar characters, and I hope the story just kind of continues on with the mayhem and craziness that was the first movie.
I really thought like the appeal of RRR would die down so quickly, but like it
makes me happy.
It's still running. Like it's still in my top. I've seen it twice now. It's still in my top 10. I think it's sitting at number like 5 or 6.
I think it's like eight for me. It's still in my top 10. Like it makes me happy. I keep seeing on Twitter like the director having interviews about it and how happy he is. It's done well with a Western audience because it wasn't expected. I think it's really nice. I think it's just a really fun, enjoyable film.
Yeah,
definitely.
Then we talked about this briefly earlier. Mixed reviews for Babylon. Some people are making it sound like this is the best movie to ever be. Some people are acting like this is just a pathetic excuse of a movie.
That makes me more excited though.
So excited.
Bro,
so
the polarizing thing. I want to know.
I love it so much. People calling it like a Margot Robbie's cocaine-induced masterclass is just the greatest thing in the world.
Bro, I am all. This is maybe more excited, and this made me more annoyed that we don't get it till February, whenever it is as well.
You don't get it till February?
Have you? We don't get any. We don't get any film at the same time.
That comes out like December 15th for us?
I think it's like I think it's like January the 20th. I think so.
You're getting
at the end. It's annoying, man. Like this is like something I'm really excited for as well. Is what it is. I accept it.
Well, speaking of Margot Robbie, her Pirates of the Caribbean movie is no longer happening. I didn't even know this was a thing that was going to happen.
I think there was when news broke a couple months ago that Margot Robbie was involved in a Pirates of the Caribbean project. The amount of TikToks and tweets that I saw that basically said, if Johnny Depp is not in this movie, I will not be seeing it. I truly think that had an effect on this movie not being made. I think
with Jack Sparrow's character, I agree. 100%.
I think they truly recognized that no one would see this movie if Johnny Depp was not in it.
Also, they kind of ruined it because I just don't care for Pirates of the Caribbean anymore because of how the last.
Yeah, that too. Like I don't know if Margot Robbie would have saved this franchise.
No, it's down. I said this. Me and Tyler said the thing. It's gone downhill every film.
Yeah.
I just don't see the point of it anymore. It's fine.
The Duffer Brothers have officially written the first episode of season 5 of Stranger Things. Do we have a release date on this, or are we gonna have to wait like 3 years again?
I'm sure it's going to be at the end of
be a while.
2023.
They made a promise when the last season came out. They said the next season will not be as long of a wait, but I hope that stays true. These characters are aging like crazy.
They really are.
But I'm very excited for it.
Bring Caleb McLaughlin into the fucking MCU, please.
I didn't know you were a fan of it. So I've only seen the first season.
Oh, I love Stranger Things. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
I know a lot of people do. Yeah,
great show. Greta Gerwig is being eyed to direct Chronicles of Narnia for Netflix. Greta Gerwig, I think we all unanimously enjoy her and love her as a filmmaker. Twitter hated this news, and every single reply to this was saying, "No, please don't do it." And okay, so it's a double whammy. It's a franchise, Chronicles of Narnia, that isn't wildly loved, and the double whammy is it's for Netflix. So Greta Gerwig doing a Netflix original and also Chronicles of Narnia. I don't know. I'm not like a gatekeeper where it's like, oh, you got directors that are good art house directors shouldn't be allowed to make money, but it's still like kind of like I'm not expecting her to same with Margot Robbie to Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm not expecting Greta Gerwig to all of a sudden make Chronicles of Narnia the next big global phenomenon of a franchise.
I kind of hate this. I hate this, but I hate it less because it's Greta Gerwig. Like I really like her, but I don't see the point of this at all. I'm not really interested in the films itself, especially if it's Netflix doing it. I don't care. To be honest.
I don't care for Narnia, but like I'm super on board with like if a filmmaker has given me no reason to believe
to distrust them.
Yeah, then like Lady Bird is in my top 100 of all time.
Bro, I have Lady Bird a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, Little Women is an incredible movie. She's even a great actress. She's given me zero reason to say that.
She was in that horror that you recommended.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. But she's given me no. I don't care for Narnia, but Greta Gerwig has given me no reason to not trust her with something.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I'll just run through a couple of other notes quickly. So Seth Rogen's going to direct, co-write, and produce a comedy series for Apple TV Plus, and at the same time, Sausage Party series is being in the works for Amazon. Sausage Party was a wild movie. I'm interested that they're going to go with the TV show, and again, it's Amazon. I don't know if they're just trying to find something that's going to stick. Maybe comedy's their move. But Seth Rogen, feel like he's been kind of. I haven't seen much from Seth Rogen in a while, so it sounds like he's working a lot now, and he has 2 different TV series that should be coming out soon.
He was just in Pam and Tommy.
Oh, I didn't watch that, but okay.
That was great. He was great in that. He was nominated for supporting actor.
Oh shit!
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out Seth Rogen.
He was very good in that.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are on board for Freaky Friday sequel. So Lindsay Lohan, obviously with Falling for Christmas, is back in the movie spotlight, and Jamie Lee Curtis has been shown time and time again that anything that got her fame in her younger years, she is more than willing to milk and milk and milk for as much money as possible. So it makes sense that both of them are down for Freaky Friday sequel. Do we need this? No. Will it be a Disney Plus original that's going to make some money? Probably.
It'll make some money because I know a lot of people who loved Freaky Friday as a kid. I didn't really care for it, so I'm not going to bother, but I understand if people are kind of excited for this, I guess. It'll definitely make money because Freaky Friday was quite a big film, in fairness, to a lot of people.
I thought it was good. I haven't seen it forever, but I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it in years, so I don't really know.
Yeah. And then Walter Hamada has signed a deal with Paramount Plus to create some horror movies. I'm obviously not a horror guy. Walter Hamada, is he one of your favorites? How do you feel about him?
He's the DC. He's the old DC head of DC that got canned. He sucks. Bad person.
He's
don't
an
like
ass. Yeah.
Is he a bad person because of what he makes, or a bad person in general?
No, bad person in general.
Both.
Oh,
Bad person letting Joss Whedon just like fucking run over Ray Parker.
Okay, so we don't like him. That's it.
Well,
Ray Fisher. Thank you.
He's downgraded from HBO Max to Paramount Plus, and then next he'll downgrade to like Tubi or something. I don't know. Just keep going down the streaming.
Is Peacock big though? Is that like a well-known good one?
It's on the come up.
It's got The Office and it's got a Parks and Rec, so I like it.
They get a lot of great 2022 releases. Like they just got Get Out.
The smaller ones.
They're doing good at getting 2022 releases out on their streaming
It's not
service.
2022.
Get Out or not Get Out? Sorry, Nope. Is now out there. So
all right.
Yeah, slip of the tongue.
It's just not a streaming service I ever hear about. That's all.
Yeah, it's still bottom tier. But Joseph Quinn is going to star along Lupita Nyong'o in a Quiet Place Day 1 series. Again, I don't know. Quiet Place is getting a lot of sequels and a lot of spinoffs for something that I didn't really think was going to get a lot of sequels, a lot of spinoffs. But whatever. George, are you excited? Is that a fist pump?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love A Quiet Place. I think A Quiet Place 2 is a worthy and very solid sequel. Give me a prequel. Why not? Let me see it. Let me see day one of this
how it starts.
This horse shit.
That does sound very intriguing, to be honest. So
in a sea of Halloweens and
Hellraisers and Texas Chainsaw Massacres, give me something new.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, speaking of stuff that's going to be new, Megan sequel is in development. This comes out. The first one comes out.
It's not even out yet.
I know the first one comes out in January, but I think they just saw how much it's blown up on social media. They're like, we're making a sequel already. This is going to be peak.
I have seen this trailer at the cinema.
So good.
So many. That stupid dance that she does in the middle of the trailer.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to redo my greatest of all time list after that movie. I'm just saying.
Oh, I can't believe they're gonna come out a sequel. It's meant like it's not even out. Come on, like let's at least see how well.
What if this opens up to like a 1.2 on Letterboxd?
It probably will. Like, look at it. This is gonna be one of those films that people probably love because it's so ridiculous.
It's gonna get a cult following. I feel like
it's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be
every horror film gets a cult following. There's always like a little group that loves individual horrors, isn't there?
Fair.
That's future best picture winner right there. Show some
George,
respect.
George, it seems like something you'll love, and
I'm gonna absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I'll be like getting angry at the cinema. It's so bad.
Then some big movie news is Quentin Tarantino's next project will be an 8-episode series. They haven't released where it's gonna be.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I thought he was kind of going for the 10-pack of movies and calling it quits, but I guess he's doing a side quest here with an 8-episode series.
Quentin Tarantino has been saying for the longest time 10 movies. 10 movies.
He said that in his earliest interviews.
Once he's done with his next movie, he has to wrap up his career. He can't go back on what he's been saying for the last decade or so. So I think he is just trying to prolong this last movie.
Do more projects. And it's not a movie, so it doesn't count.
As much as possible.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. I am intrigued by to see what we could do with the series because like who knows, but.
Yeah, it is funny going off what George said because the Hateful Eight extended edition was released on Netflix. It was broken up into 4 episodes because it's so long.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I haven't even seen that Drake late yet.
So good.
Oh shit, I like it more than most. But that'd be so funny if he just starts releasing 4-episode limited series of like 45 minutes each.
Movie.
Yeah, he's just like, this isn't the movie. This is a limited series. Like, I'm not calling it quits.
I feel like he would do that as well. Like that's the sort of thing I can imagine happening.
Yeah,
hilarious.
I mean, yeah, because he built up the 10 movie thing for so long, and it's like he can't go back. Because I mean, it did genuinely build hype. Because like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is like, shit, this is the second to last film he's ever gonna make.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Django sequel coming out too? Is that gonna be number 10?
No, I doubt it.
Okay.
I
I've heard. There's just no way he ends on a sequel. He's gonna give us.
If it's a sequel, it'd be someone else doing it.
He's got to give us an original project.
Yeah, he would. I'm sure.
All right, and then Steven Spielberg's obviously been in the news because The Fabelmans is getting high critical acclaim. But Bradley Cooper has been cast to play Frank Bullitt in the next Steven Spielberg movie, and Frank Bullitt was the character that made Steve McQueen famous in the '60s. It's Steven Spielberg. It's Bradley Cooper. It's a classic retake on a iconic movie. I'm excited about this. How can you not be? Yeah, Oscar bait. But
are we just gonna say that to every like acclaimed director?
Everything Spielberg makes going forward is Oscar bait in my mind.
Okay, and then we only got a couple pieces left of movie news. So Oscar Isaac will be portraying the Sea God in Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Oh, you fell for that?
Oh, it's fake? I'm just reading the
fake
outline.
news.
I'm reading the outline.
Oh, who fell for that? Someone fell for that. You're on mute, idiot.
Come.
Cam looks disheveled.
I just need to know that's not in the outline. Where are you reading that? I did not put that in. I'm certain of it because I didn't fall for that.
Okay, well,
shit.
I copied and pasted that. I have my own outline that I copied and pasted yesterday.
No, it's Jay Duplass and Timothy Omundson cast as Hades and Hephaestus or whatever in New Percy. Don't be throwing me in that. I didn't fucking put that in.
Is the Percy Jackson series a Disney Plus, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Why is that so unbelievable? I don't know anything about it, but like, why is that?
It's just fake Twitter now.
It's someone. It was someone with like a fake blue check mark that started passing around that Oscar.
Bro, they're not even fake blue check marks. This is the stupidest thing anyone can get a check mark.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
It takes away all the exclusivity of it.
Last piece of movie news: Chris Hemsworth taking a break from acting. He in his TV series Limitless, was found he has a genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's. Again, these genetic predisposition things are very much like not saying he's getting Alzheimer's for sure. It just means he's a little more likely than the average person. So he's probably okay. I'm sure he's just taking a break. I'm sure it's one of those things that happens in life where it kind of gives you a mental check where it's like, okay, let me reassess my priorities, what I want to spend time with the most in life. Yeah, good for him. He's definitely earned it. Like, he's been in the MCU forever. He's done so many projects outside of the MCU. He's been doing a lot of producing lately too. So I'm sure he's just been swamped with work in the movie world for so long. Take a break. Take a break. I think a lot of people made that way bigger news than it should be. And like people like, of course, like people are like, oh my gosh, what does this mean for Avengers Secret Wars? Like, dude, chill. It's like someone's life.
People take anything and then run with it. I think like it's these fans as well, man. Like, it's so irritating.
God, Chris Hemsworth is struggling. What about the movie?
What about the movie?
Shut the fuck up.
Well, I was going to transition this into a review of After Sun, but I think, you know what, we're going to hold that off for Wednesday. We'll film a real quick because it is George and I's film of the year. Seth's number 2.
I could talk for an hour and a half about
Seth's number 2 and Cam's number 2 or
2, I think.
2. Okay. So that's
high praise.
Yeah.
Like, we put out that video, the 5-star thing. Like, you should be excited for us talking about this film.
Yeah.
We're going to speak about it.
So we'll speak about it on Wednesday. We'll do a whole separate review because this is going to be a movie that, even though there's so many great releases coming out at the end of 2022, this will for sure be in our top 5s when the year comes in. I'm just absolutely sure of it that nothing's going to kick it out of our top 5s.
That's a ReelTok collection right there. A little plug.
Yep. It's in the ReelTok collection. Certified.
ReelTok collection. Yeah.
Certified. So we're going to talk about After Sun in a later episode, but I was going to use that to do a seamless transition into talking about the saddest movies of all time because, spoiler alert, After Sun, a bummerville of a movie.
Shit made me cry.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe Cam didn't cry.
That's so crazy.
I told you. I said if I left the theater, I said damn it, if I had emotion, I'd be bawling like a bitch right
You should have had a drink before you went in, because then you probably would have cried. That's the thing, isn't it? I was crying. It was one of those films. I won't say
I
too
might
much.
cry right now. I'm
Exactly.
feeling
I was
horrible.
after I watched
$10.
it.
Hold off on it, Seth.
What?
We'll talk it.
No,
Wednesday,
I was
we
just
said.
gonna say after it finished, I was just staring at the credits stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just completely bemused by the whole film.
So you should be very excited for us to give our full video breakdown of it, because we'll be talking in depth about After Sun, which is just an impeccable directorial debut. But we will now talk about the saddest movies of all time, because we are doing a draft on the saddest movies of all time. Cam has returned to the podcast stage here because he has the overall first pick in the draft.
I swear, I'm not even gonna say anything. Carry on.
Avengers and no, I'm kidding.
I swear, I'm leaving the room.
Cam, first
no,
pick.
I'm starting it off. We said there was a clear one, and I don't know if I have it or not, but I'm going with La La Land.
What?
Wow.
Dude, that movie breaks my heart more than any other movie
Listen,
on this planet.
Bro, come.
All right, I have more.
I'm glad this happened, because this is what I want to bring up. This happens every draft. No matter what anyone says for the first pick, everyone always
gonna
what?
I think choosing fiction.
Move
is
along.
wild.
La La Land's great. Oh,
Yeah,
shut up.
But
Shut
That
up.
was, I do agree with Cam. That's a wild take, Seth.
Yeah.
That- yeah,
Shut
that-
up.
for sad movies.
Yeah.
That is a wild take.
No.
They can. Oh, my God. All right.
Nah, that,
Next.
George, your
George.
first pick.
I feel like I'm gonna dick Seth here because I think I know
You
what
will.
he. I'm taking the Green Mile.
no.
Oh, God, that movie.
Wow.
Bro,
There's a
I wouldn't
movie
have
that
done
if
all
it
this-
gets
I-
picked, I'm gonna be mad.
I wouldn't have done all this like talk about fiction, non-fiction, but I was going for the Green Mile.
I just
Although,
you talk
George,
about that
that is-
movie all the time.
No, that is on my list. That is incredibly sad.
I almost didn't pick it because I didn't want to take it from you.
No, I'm going Schindler's List. I think that's the first obvious choice.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Okay.
It's a
Not
good
what I
pick.
thought you were going to pick.
Is that
With your whole-
nonfiction?
Really?
Very
I,
good
I, for some reason, I said to Anna, I thought Schindler's List would be like the first one gone. I was like, okay, I'm not getting that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That was the
Okay.
first one on my list, so I will say that. So I get two back-to-back picks here.
You're definitely taking my pick. I know it.
Yeah, you definitely.
Probably not, honestly, but I'm gonna go Marley and Me.
That was
man.
literally my
I thought
pick.
I could get
Okay.
it
That
on
was
the way
literally
back.
my
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah, that movie. That's one of the four. Four.
So Marley and Me picked, and then I'm gonna go. I'll do Requiem for a Dream,
That's on mine. That's on mine.
and now we're back to Seth.
Okay, I'm gonna go for The Pianist.
Ah, that's a
Have not seen it, so
It's a
but I'm
good
sure it's
movie.
very sad.
bad.
Just
bad
be
direction.
ready
Movie.
to watch that. It's so sad.
Is that Roman
It's ama-
Polanski, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is, but let's not.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I said bad director, good movie.
Yeah, don't mention that name.
Yeah, just say Adrian Brody. Amazing performance. Oscar
Didn't he win Best Director for that? Or am I bugging?
I mean,
Pianist definitely won some
Nope.
Oscars. The movie.
Adrian
I don't
Brody
know about
got
director.
best actor, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, I
No.
definitely think he won for that one.
I mean, it's an amazing film.
Yeah.
Amazing film. Yeah.
Georgia.
I'm gonna go Manchester by the Sea.
Damn it, you fucking asshole, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's. I was debating between that and Requiem.
A movie that just really, really gets me. This one I may have cried on, and I don't really remember. A Star Is Born.
Oh, I wanted
Yeah,
that.
that's a good one.
Yeah, that, and I only have seen the remake, but like the most recent. But
Is that the
I'm
one with
pretty-
Bradley Cooper? Is that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yes.
sure they're all the exact same thing, but it's
I don't know that.
that fucking hurt. And then I'm gonna take, man.
This is an interesting draft.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
I think
so
I'm gonna have
I'm
to-
not like not all of my movies. Like I was thinking of movies that like make me cry, but not necessarily like sad the entire time. But I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with,
Like not Requiem for a Dream, because that didn't make me cry, but it's
yeah.
horrific.
I
It's
think
to
I'm
watch.
gonna go
depressing.
with. I think I'm gonna take it early and go with After Sun. It's
Hmm.
not gonna get me votes, but
That was going to be an honorable mention. To be fair, I think that's deservedly.
That would have been a late 4th or 5th round pick for me if it was still
Really?
on the board. Yeah.
George.
I have one I think I can get on the way back.
I'm gonna take Pursuit of Happiness.
Good one.
Does make you cry for sure.
Seth.
I'm not sure if any of you actually seen this, but it's obviously based on real life. Really sad story. I'm going to say David Lynch's The Elephant Man. Incredibly sad. One of the saddest films I've ever seen.
I've never seen it.
Okay.
Never seen it.
Good pick.
Well, you
I've not
must know
seen
the
it either.
story of The Elephant Man anyway. It's based on his life. It's
I've heard about it.
yeah,
But
it's very sad. It's very
Yeah,
sad.
what I initially wanted to do for this draft was like saddest movie moments or scenes of all time, but we would spoil 20 movies. I feel like if
Yeah.
we did that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, because then we would kind of like rule out any movies from the last 2 years, and so I was like, let's just do saddest movies because it doesn't really spoil much. Back-to-back picks here. I'm gonna go The Notebook,
Good pick.
and I'm gonna go
Fuck, man. That was gonna be my
Marriage
next
Story.
pick. Marriage.
good.
It's. I swear, it's like you saw my list.
Good pick.
Yeah, I can see it in the reflection of your poster back there. Seth, you're up next.
Okay. I'm going to go for the most me pick ever.
Here we go.
I think I'm going to go for Come and See. If you're talking about sadness,
That's what
destroy-
I thought your first pick was gonna be.
Yeah. To be fair, I was going to go for second. I don't think there's any argument that is horrendously sad. Like, I didn't cry, but it's horrendous to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cam called out Seth on his You posted a video the other day of like great movies that I just
Yeah.
don't like. Come and see.
I didn't say I don't like it.
No,
I said
but
I just don't love
Come,
them.
no, but Come and See. I didn't watch it, and I'm like, I'm having such a good time. This is so great. But I think it's an important watch. I think it's just one of those films that a lot of people should watch that they just wouldn't, if that makes sense. But I kind of get where Cam's coming from
I
with that
agree.
one.
George.
Yeah. I just feel like it would be a disservice to not pick this movie. It might, if anything, I might consider this a feel-good movie, but it sure as shit makes me cry. Forrest Gump.
Really? Okay.
I think it's an interesting pick.
Is that movie
Man.
overhated?
No.
I think that
think
movie
it's-
is
I think it's-
overrated.
I think it's underhated. I don't think enough people. Bro,
I don't-
I
It's not. I don't have it at a 5 out of 5 stars.
have it
No,
at 4.
me neither.
I think that's-
I have it at 4.5.
Cam,
good
your
movie.
last 2 picks.
Yeah. So I just Googled like saddest movies because I
You can
have
just
a bunch.
decide.
No, I know. No. I have a bunch, but I think I'm going to get bullied for them. But
do it.
La La Land.
I
do
do
it.
get my last. I do get my last. These are my last 2 picks. I am gonna just kind of piss Seth off. I'm gonna go Jojo
You always-
Rabbit.
It's a good movie.
No, that's not
No,
the
no.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna
Actually,
go
no, La La Land.
Avengers
I haven't seen
Endgame.
that.
What?
What?
Are you taking it?
And then yeah, at 5, I'm putting Avengers Endgame.
Oh, bro, I'm so done.
Movie breaks my heart, man.
You are going to get so much hate in these comments, and I'm gonna be so excited for it as well. I'm so sick.
I disagree. I think that's going to get Cam a ton of votes.
I
Like,
Okay,
I
fine.
probably I have
I
so
think you'll
many
get more
others.
hate for La La Land being the first pick. I think that's
No.
wild first pick. I think that's wild.
I mean, that was on my list. It wasn't my first pick, but it's on my list.
It's my
George.
5th pick, so
George's final pick.
No, I meant La La Land.
I kind of want to round myself out with a war film. I'd feel disrespectful to not have at least one war film on the list of saddest films ever. So I'll take Saving Private Ryan.
that's a good one. Yeah, I should have thought of a war.
I didn't even have
Oscar
a list. I probably
bait.
should have. It is very sad. I should have done. I didn't even have it.
I mean, in your defense, I would have taken Schindler's List and Come and See over Saving Private Ryan if they were both
No,
still
I
on the
think
board.
Saving Private Ryan's very sad. I get it.
It
I
is.
just didn't have. I don't know what it is.
Seth, close out your draft with another
Okay.
nonfiction masterpiece.
Okay. I'm gonna go for Life is Beautiful.
That's a good one, man. That's what I should. That's what I like. I think I would have picked if I went with a real movie for my 5th, but I couldn't.
Wow!
I thought you just-
Whoa! Is that Cam acknowledging that the MCU are theatrical
No,
movies?
no.
And
No.
And not
I'm a
real?
No,
Real?
that is what
I-
you said.
I cried my balls out. Don't know what that's saying.
Crack your balls out.
I cried my ass off in Avengers Endgame, but I'm going to be honest. It's probably not one of the saddest movies of all time. Let's be
Okay.
honest.
Thank you.
But I also
But that-
I cried in Endgame. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sit here
No,
and lie.
crying's fine. I just
Yeah.
compared to a lot of these films, I don't get it, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
This is my last pick. I have a lot of honorable mentions, so I'm trying to figure out which one I want to pick out of here. I'm gonna go with My Girl.
What is
I
that?
don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
What is
My
that?
Girl, Macaulay Culkin, when he's a kid.
No, I've
Damn.
never heard of it.
You
I
guys
know
have
that
missed
one.
out
Heard
on
it.
My Girl. Her,
It's on this list, but I've never seen it.
yeah,
Never seen
My
it.
Girl, Macaulay Culkin. He has like a little girl crush, and she's allergic to bees, and they're out playing in the field, and she gets stung by bees and dies, and it's very tragic and sad.
Man, I want a different movie, but never mind. Doesn't
Whatever.
matter.
We'll go. So I'll do a quick recap of everyone's, and then we'll go over honorable mentions. So Cam has La La Land, A Star Is Born, After Sun, Jojo Rabbit, Avengers Endgame. That is such a variety of a list. So good job on that. George, The Green Mile, Manchester by the Sea, Pursuit of Happiness, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan. A very respectable list for sure. Seth, Schindler's List, The Pianist, The Elephant Man, Come and See, Life is Beautiful. And
If
then
I don't win, sorry,
I mean, you're not going to.
bro. Mine's the saddest list.
Officially, I forget who won last week.
I was
Me.
literally just checking that right now.
Yeah.
I think I was third. I
You
don't
did?
know where I was.
Tyler won.
And then lastly, my picks: Marley and Me, Requiem for a Dream, The Notebook, Marriage Story, and My Girl. Honorable mentions. Who has stuff you want to throw out here?
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah,
Forgot
those are
her.
mine.
I got a few. Boy
Her.
in the striped pajamas.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Sophie's Choice. I'm surprised
Ri-
it didn't get picked.
A
Bridge to
ghost,
Terabithia.
a ghost story kind of breaks my heart,
Yeah.
but it's got a little humor in there. So.
Tyler, come see. About Time.
Yes.
And,
Oh,
end of watch.
So this movie, I was going to be a little upset if this is a true story, so nothing against the actual people involved in this story. A Beautiful Boy is cry porn, and
I haven't
It's-
seen it.
You're
it's
absolutely
it's
right.
not a good movie, and I'm tired of it.
Never even
Comes
heard
on.
of it.
Great movie, bro. What are you
No.
talking about?
No, it is not.
I haven't seen
It
it.
is cry porn.
It's got good reviews.
Cam,
Never
I love
even
you,
heard
bro,
of it.
but
What
you're
is it?
still drunk. Steve
It's
Carell,
Timothy
Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Movie's so
Come.
good.
Oh, I'm gonna
Come.
love it then.
I'd
Come,
like
I'm
to-
surprised.
I'd like to give a
You
shout
go
out to
for it.
Grave of the Fireflies as well.
I'm not watching that.
Why?
Bro, I don't know. I just every person I speak to says it just ruins them, so I'm scared.
I mean, yeah, you will cry for
Like,
sure.
I cry at everything. Come, I'm surprised you didn't go for Eternal Sunshine. I've heard you speak about how sad that is for a few times.
For what?
Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind.
Oh man, yeah. I
I think that's sad.
don't know if I talk about
I'm
that
surprised
movie.
it didn't get picked.
I did.
I'd even call out
Dead-
50
Dead Post-
50.
Dead
50,
Post
50.
Society.
Oh, it's so good, man.
The
Bro,
Road.
50-50 is so underappreciated.
Blue Valentine.
Call me
50-50
by
makes
your
me
Call Me by Your
cry.
Name.
Call Me by Your Name. Good movie.
Train to Busan.
Train to
Yeah.
Busan. Yeah,
Moon-
that doesn't
Moonlight.
necessarily like.
Did we mention the perks of being a wallflower? God, we kind of sucked at this
Ah,
draft.
Yeah,
We kind of missed a lot.
that's fine.
Up.
It was fun.
I'll throw one in. Edward Scissorhands, I think, is very sad.
I
I think
haven't
Edward
watched
Scissorhands-
Edward Scissorhands in forever.
I think it's a good film, man. I think it's a really good film.
The
Haven't
Lovely
seen it
Bones.
forever.
One of Saoirse Ronan's
Yeah.
first. If you guys have seen that.
Weird film, man.
Thor: Love and Thunder might make Seth cry.
The
but
Thor Love and
it
Thunder
is.
final scene that made me cry, and I only saw that on Twitter.
I was gonna say that might make you cry by how bad it is.
It literally does look like a PlayStation like advertisement.
It looks like I thought it was like a deleted scene or something. That's why I put it in the chat. I was confused by it. They can't put that in the film, surely. I'm not looking forward to watching that. I'm really not. Like,
Well,
at all.
That does it for our draft. Go vote on Twitter as always. Next week we have a ton of stuff coming. So on Thanksgiving we'll be uploading a Thanksgiving draft. So all things Thanksgiving. We'll be doing a Q&A. So be on the lookout. Follow ReelTok Podcast on TikTok. That's where you can ask questions for our Q&A. We'll be doing a recap of MCU Phase 4 and forecasting the
And-
future of what we think.
On that Q&A, if you ask a question and we do answer it on this podcast, you will get a shout out because I'm going to mention everyone who asks these questions. So
Yeah,
if you
boom.
want to shout out on the Real Podcast, keep an eye out for that story.
Yep, that's the way to get it. That's the way to get a shout out. We'll also be doing some more of Cam's trivia game, and we will be doing an After Sun. So we have tons of content coming. And then next week's episode.
This all is gonna get released next week, though, right? We're just
No,
recording
not
it
all
up.
going to get released, but there's just stuff to look forward to in the future.
Yeah,
And then, but next week's episode will be packed because next week we have so many movies coming out: The Fablemans, Glass Onion, Bones and All, Strange World, packed show with future Oscar winners for sure.
But November is such a good month for films.
Oscar
Yeah.
season, baby.
Yeah,
So good.
so happy it's here. But that'll do it
Next
for
week's
this
episode
week.
might be reviews only just reviews.
It might have to be only.
Yeah.
It's gonna be long.
Well,
All right, fellas, I'm struggling. I'm gonna go yak.
okay. On that note, we'll end the episode. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone, and we will see you on episode 12 next week. Oh, wait. By the way, the secret comment phrase this week, I posted on my TikTok story saying what it should be. The secret comment phrase this week is Josiah is taller than George. Shout out
Go
Josiah.
follow Josiah Coops on TikTok. Go follow.
All right.
It's just a
Goodbye,
lie.
everyone.